Ever since Su Xing had gone to the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom, Thief Star Shi Yuan felt a bit bored, and she was even absent-minded as she refined her puppets. In times before, the Thief Star had always been alone and never had this sort of feeling. She did not know when it happened, but Shi Yuan had already grown accustomed to Su Xing's company. If I had known, even being in the star nest would have been great. Shi Yuan grumbled to herself. Tong Tong's yearning day and night wine could allow for instant return to the star nest, but after entering the star nest, she would be unable to leave for a certain amount of time. However, since this was the situation, Shi Yuan still preferred to be together with Su Xing. Shi Yuan sorted through the bounty they gained from the Crystal Dragon Palace, a plethora of dazzling treasures. The Crystal Dragon Palace had met with a great disaster at the very end, and countless shops suffered great calamity. As a professional, the flea on a drum naturally was obligated to not stand idly by and waste precious resources. Therefore, the white treasure monkey emerged to remarkably complete a round of looting. Shi Yuan counted. These items could upgrade the star weapons of the Elder Sisters by several levels. However, it was regretful that she could not help Lin Yingmei upgrade to 6-star. In the records of the star duels, the strongest level before the 3 heavenly books was the 6-star destined weapon of the previous Wusong. Shi Yuan had wanted to help Lin Yingmei reach the same level as history's strongest, to make the other sister give her a whole new level of respect. Sister Yingmei's 6-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear needs 64 Extreme Night Ice Star Stones. This thing seems to only be found in polar regions. Maybe I should talk with Sister Xinjie. Shi Yuan muttered. She felt this was a good idea. Shi Yuan set down the work in her hands and left her temporary station. However, after searching all day, she could not find the knowledge star. Suan, where is Sister Xinjie? The efficacious star in Suan currently meticulously raising the essence swallowing dragons replied. She has gone to the Great Circle Castle to seek Sister Chailing's help in gathering information on the 4th Overlord for Big Brother. So this Shi Yuan gazed outside of the Immortal's abode. Yuaner, what is the matter? I wanted to do something to help Sister Yingmei and the others. But Yingmei and Wanyue are already gone. Shi Yuan helplessly said. And Suan gently smiled. The Alliance of 10 conference is about to begin. The Elder Sisters have gone to gather information. Shi Yuan was a bit dispirited to hear this. This originally should have been something she ought to be doing. This is unacceptable. This young lady must quickly comprehend her earth rank. Suan, I shall leave first. After taking a step, Shi Yuan remembered something and turned her head back to ask. Suan, have you comprehended your earth rank? And Suan wore a gentle smile and nodded. Great Circle Castle. Chai Ling hugged Xinger as she walked leisurely behind Wu Xinjie, indolently asking. What have you found? Something interesting. Wu Xinjie muttered mysteriously. Where is interesting? Chai Ling had already looked through some documents on the past star duels. What gave her the deepest impression in the 4th star duels was that 3 star masters appeared that had contracted 2 stars each. That era circulated a legend of double heavenly, double earthly. One had contracted the prestige star double clubs, Huyan Zhua and agile star featherless arrow Zhangqing. The other had 2 earthly stars. Although their rankings were extremely low and were without martial force, they had shocked everyone at the end during the 7 stars assembly, by utilizing a heaven-earth dark yellow skill. The double earthly stars are fine, but for a double heavenly star overlord, this will be very troublesome. Chai Ling pursed her lips, worry written all over her face. One was a 5 tigers general, and the other was a master of concealed weapons. This formation was perfect to the extreme, undefeatable. Although Su Xing currently had Lin Chong, Wu Song, Gong Sun Sheng and other top-notch star generals, facing the concealed weapons star general Featherless Arrow was completely not the issue. It was well known that in the 5th star duels, the Zhangqing then killed 8 in a single battle before the 3 heavenly books and repelled 5 star masters in a magnificent feat. This was something that a top-notch martial force star general would be unable to achieve. Xinjie feels that the Yu Dragon Hall is interesting. They wasted the strength of an entire sect to raise a star master, but afterwards, the sect immediately declined. A sect obviously wants to expand their own influence by using the star duels. Is this opposite reaction not very interesting? Documents record that Old Pig was the heir to the Dragon Hall's headmaster. Chai Ling said. And if he was able to become overlord, that would be even more interesting. Chai Ling saw that Wu Xinjie's eyes were emitting a crafty luster. This sort of expression had a hint that someone was about to have bad luck. Is the stark contrast between becoming overlord and the sect declining so interesting? The noble star pondered. Hua Shui, Xinjie wants you to go take care of something. Wu Xinjie ordered in a low voice. Slave understands. The nine-tailed fox nodded, becoming a ray of white light that scuttled out of the main hall. This palace knows that Xinjie has gone to the Ghost Kingdom. What has he gone to the Ghost Kingdom for at this time? Chai Ling stroked the three-eyed wealth-inviting beast sitting in her bosom, nonchalantly speaking. Young Lord wanted to search for a way to refine the ghost's god's bane. Towards this arrogant queen who was unwilling to show her true motives, Wu Xinjie had nothing to hide. Is there a problem with the Ghost Kingdom? It is not a big problem. This palace is aware that the Ghost Kingdom's Tokugawa clan intends to overthrow the Bakufu and replace the Empress. Several dozen black warships are already anchored off Kyoto's coast. Indeed, this was no problem at all. With Su Xing's current cultivation, even if he was to cause a disturbance in the Great Liang dynasty, no one would want to go provoke the fury of a supervoid cultivator. Never expected that Ghost Kingdom would unexpectedly unite. Wu Xinjie smiled. She knew that the Ghost Kingdom practiced evil paths of the sword. The evil qi was very heavy, and the ambitions of the feudal lords were recklessly large. To unite the Ghost Kingdom would require considerably powerful methods and force in order to work. You honestly are relaxed about Xinjie. This palace knows that the Falling Blossom Kingdom has an exceptionally fiery heavenly star little sister. This palace wonders if Xinjie will be able to bring her back. This palace is truly eager. Chai Ling covered her mouth, her smile charming. Just I wonder if Siyou will agree to allowing someone OT interrupt her honeymoon with young lord. Wu Xinjie giggled to herself. Kyoto. The sakura fell like flowers. Manxiang, I trust you have been well. Su Xing slightly smiled. Wu Siyou and Zhu Manxiang each were taken aback. Lord husband? You recognize her? Su Xing could not forget this sexy and buxom beauty even if he wanted to. Zhu Manxiang's gaze turned even sharper, as if she was a sharp blade trying to stab through Su Xing. Who are you? Why do you know my true name? When they had first met, Su Xing had used the change appearance pill. Zhu Manxiang could not recognize the man before her as the same person who helped her once. Is Chai's Sakura all right? Before Ingmei and Little Yi had greeted you. Zhu Manxiang's eyebrows rose and immediately recalled a certain person. Do you not feel that your lies have a flaw? You must mean that Ingmei and Little Yi aren't accompanying me? Su Xing asked. No. Zhu Manxiang took a step forward. Her fragrance struck him in the face. Her killing intent descended upon him. Clang clang, clear ringing. Wu Siyou's sword stopped her. She stepped forward, her arrogance pushing down. No matter what your relationship is with Lord Husband, if you are not respectful to Lord Husband, your servant will not be merciful. Sword light blossomed into several beautiful lotus flowers that shot over. The dragon sparrow Dulong saber was raised, ripping apart the lotus flowers. But Wu Siyou's swift and severe attack already was fully charged for a long while. Her wonderful figure danced amidst the falling sakura. Although Zhu Manxiang's 5-star destined weapon was formidable, her star master was the completely incapable Chai's Sakura, whose cultivation was honestly too low. She was simply unable to bring any star energy support. After being defeated in several bouts with Wu Song's master previously, Zhu Manxiang already knew what her probabilities of victory were. Wifey, please wait a moment. Su Xing shouted. When Wu Siyou heard this, she withdrew to Su Xing's side. Zhu Manxiang also landed atop a sakura tree, her breasts bouncing about, already beginning to heave. In short, this is a misunderstanding. I came to the Ghost Kingdom this time not to find you for a star duel, Manxiang. Su Xing raised his hand to hint. To be honest, he really did not want to take action after all. Zhu Manxiang appeared to not want a star duel either. Otherwise, how could she have Chai's Sakura? Su Xing conjectured correctly. Wu Siyou's Ice Queen aura had spread through Kyoto, already drawing Zhu Manxiang's attention. And the Ghost Buddha title was even more alarming to the Fulfillment Star. She logically believed Su Xing's challenges to the ghost martial cultivators of those dojos was merely to force out the star masters in those dojos. Having seen Su Xing's super void stage spiritual power, this was what made Zhu Manxiang stir her killing intent. In actuality, Zhu Manxiang's sneak attack was very successful, but she had never planned on the Ghost Buddha's star general surprisingly being the famous thousand-year martial general, Wuxia. This made her sneak attack falter. Is that so? Zhu Manxiang's eyes were still wary, her killing intent fading intangibly away. If your servant truly wanted to kill you, do you feel that your servant would trouble herself over you? Wuxia disdainfully sneered. Zhu Manxiang was unable to deny this haughty reply and remained silent. If only you do not make Manxiang disappointed, Wuxia. Zhu Manxiang was calm, glancing at Su Xing. Just as the Fulfillment Star was about to leave, Su Xing called out to her. Zhu Manxiang, wait a moment. Zhu Manxiang turned her head back, once again tightening her grip on the dragon sparrow Dulong saber. Seeing her still so guarded, Su Xing forced a smile. There was no other way. Perhaps if little Yi and Yingmei were present, otherwise, how could Zhu Manxiang believe in him? After all, Liangshan Continent's contract limit was 2 star generals. Now Zhu Manxiang had encountered 3, not believing him was to be expected. Since you have lived in the Ghost Kingdom for quite a while, I wanted to ask you something. Ask then. Has a Ghost Path Sword Saint appeared in the Ghost Kingdom? Her amber pupils slightly narrowed. Zhu Manxiang's hands folded across her enormous chest, and she pondered for a moment. And over the last few days, Ghost Chi has skyrocketed. This should be the limit of the Ghost Path. I am currently searching for this person. Do you know who they are? Su Xing asked in pleasant surprise. You challenged Kyoto's dojos in search of this sword saint. Zhu Manxiang showed a bit of astonishment. Exactly. If this is the case, you should go search for the strongest person in Kyoto. If one can practice the way of the sword to its utmost limit, there would be none other than she. Zhu Manxiang calmly answered. She is. The Bakufu Empress Great General, Dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Kenshin. Zhu Manxiang said. Wuxia asked. Is she very strong? I have never traded blows with her, but I once met her. She shut her eyes, and Zhu Manxiang seemingly was recalling that scene from back then. Her amber eyes were surprisingly leaked out slight trepidation. Wuxia, once you see her you will know. You will be subdued by her. If it can be said that we truly descended from Star World. Then she, Uesugi Kenshin, came from Star World. Her unhurried words drifted with the wind. After the sakura fell, Zhu Manxiang vanished from sight, leaving only a lingering fragrance. Su Xing and Wuxia showed expressions of shock. Came from Star World? She could not possibly be so over-exaggerated, right? Kyoto, Imperial Palace of the Bakufu. In the Empress Court. A beautiful woman that could not be described with words was currently closing her eyes in relaxation, standing quietly. Her black hair was satiny, reaching down to her ankles like a waterfall. Her hair was extremely long, but it did not appear excessive. On the contrary, it was arranged absolutely beautifully. At first glance, she appeared to be a beauty that did not belong to this world. Dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Kenshin. The Ghost Kingdom's #1 great general. No one knew where she came from, but she became a force to be reckoned with by using a Tennyo saber, consecutively defeating Oda Nobunaga, Minamoto no Yoshitsune and other major lords. Since then, her reputation was illustrious, earning the allegiance of the island in one stroke. Because her history was mysterious, this new talent was nicknamed by the people, Dragon of Ekigo. The Dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Kenshin proclaimed herself the assistant to the Empress, and because of the Empress decree, she established the Bakufu. Worthy of mention was that this Empress of the Bakufu had never been seen by the people even now. Thus, many people believed that the so-called Empress was a puppet that Uesugi Kenshin raised, or perhaps even a complete fabrication. She would do this only in order to obtain the strongest army of the Ghost Kingdom's #1 great general. In the last few years, the Tokugawa clan's clan head Tokugawa Ieyasu had quickly expanded his influence. Among the ghost martial cultivators, there was the title of Tokugawa Four Heavenly Kings, and there was even the support of the genius ghost hermit Hattori Hanzo. Just like that, he had the strength to contend against the Bakufu. But even so, the entirety of the Tokugawa clan north of Kyoto was shaken by the unmatched icy aura of Uesugi Kenshin. No one knew why, but over the last few years the Tokugawa clan frequently moved. Already, they were beginning to apply pressure towards the Bakufu. Rumor said that the Tokugawa clan had obtained an existence that could rival the Dragon of Ekigo. The people called this legendary figure the mortal enemy of the Dragon of Ekigo, the Tiger of Kai. In the flickering candle flame, Su Xing sat in front of the table. On it was current information that he received from Zhu Manxiang regarding the Bakufu. This seemed quite interesting. Lord Husband, could it be you have taken an interest in that Dragon of Ekigo? A flowery fragrance assailed his nostrils. Wuxia, who had just finished a bath, was draped in a black and white palace robe. She was just like a black snow lotus of the heavenly mountains. Alluring and enchanting, yet also awe-inspiring. Of course, a certain someone would never be awestruck. Su Xing pulled Wuxia to his side and sat down. To be able to make Zhu Manxiang say that, Siyou, what do you think? To have come from Star World, your servant is definitely intrigued. Wuxia conceded that she had thought of exchanging blows with the Ghost Kingdom's #1 great general. If it was before, she would not hesitate to do this. But ever since she signed a contract with Su Xing, her desire for battle had greatly dampened. We're thinking the same thing. Wuxia wrinkled her brow. This was entirely different from what she was thinking. From her perspective, regardless if that Uesugi Kenshin was from Star World or not, antagonizing the #1 great general of the Ghost Kingdom for no reason was not a wise thing to do. If she truly is of Star World, then she's definitely very strong. Rashness will instead lead to us falling into trouble. Su Xing interrupted her preoccupation. Know oneself and know the enemy, emerge unscathed from 100 battles. As long as Lord Husband understands. But to return from the Ghost Kingdom empty-handed is a bit pitiful. Su Xing chuckled. Wuxia pursed her lips and disdainfully said, because Uesugi Kenshin is a beauty? Does Lord Husband want to bring her back? Wifey, a bit of what you said is right. It is precisely because she is a beauty who does not lose out to you. So let's play the villain then. Su Xing narrowed his eyes, his expression full of danger that instead made Wuxia feel that Uesugi Kenshin's luck was about to sour. In the faint moonlight, silhouettes flitted about. A tall man knelt upon the ground and raised his head, staring in awe at the woman high above him. The dim moonlight illuminated the contours of his steely face, from the initial unyielding stiffness to the deathly pale softness. To die at your hand, I have no regrets, he said. The light vanished from his eyes. Finally, the man's head sunk down, and his eyes did not open ever again. Lord 2. Fire illuminated the surroundings. Countless soldiers and ghost martial cultivators rushed and flocked over. When they saw the dead man who was seemingly kneeling in fealty, each and every one of them became ashen, endlessly astonished. The man in front of them was none other than one of the Tokugawa clan's 4 heavenly kings, Tennyo Mesa the Red Devil. Everyone raised their tachi swords, wanting to take revenge, but when they raised their heads to look, that beautiful figure had already vanished, leaving only a graceful glimpse of long hair pouring like a waterfall. However, all of the ghost martial cultivators were even more shocked. General Uesugi, Tokugawa clan headquarters. Tokugawa Ieyasu and his assistant general both had grave expressions. "Milord, we cannot wait any longer." The one speaking was also a 4 heavenly king, Sakakibara Yasumasa. Uesugi Kenshin has already used such despicable methods. Could it be Milord wants to see her kill us all? Another slim man gloomily spoke. In his eyes was an ominous glint. He was the Tokugawa 4 heavenly king Honda Tadakatsu. Overthrow this Bakufu, and Milord will establish the Heian period. The Ghost Kingdom's martial cultivators do not need a woman standing atop our heads. Kill her. Avenge him. Everyone clamored about. Tokugawa Ieyasu was instead calm. Hanzo, what do you think? A monstrous figure emerged from the darkness, making many of the officers burst into a cold sweat. They surprisingly were completely unable to perceive his presence at all. The man who stepped out of the darkness was none other than the Ghost Kingdom's currently unmatched ghost hermit, Hattori Hanzo. Subordinate believes that what everyone is saying is correct. The Bakufu is already gradually chipping us away. Hattori Hanzo respectfully said. Ever since the Tokugawa clan's first heavenly king Tsuneo Mesa was assassinated, the same day, an important officer of the Tokugawa clan was also murdered afterwards. All the soldiers and ghost martial cultivators who witnessed this were not even able to keep up with the enemy's shadow, and the last impression she gave them in the night was hair long to the extreme and a chilling beauty. Dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Kenshin. Only the legendary god of war who united the Bakufu on behalf of the Empress could have such boldness. What god of war? To surprisingly use assassination? To take the lead over my subordinates? To break off my wings? Tokugawa Ieyasu fumed in a low voice. Does she believe that this is enough to make me, Tokugawa Ieyasu, surrender? My lord, send the troops in. But do you feel that you are able to face Uesugi Kenshin? Tokugawa Ieyasu looked around at everyone, asking them in a cold tone. The more than 10 generals, and the 3 heavenly kings were all silent. Hattori Hanzo, what do you say? My lord need only give the order, and your subordinate shall fight to the death. Hattori Hanzo did not hesitate to answer. For us as well. As long as we work together, we can definitely kill Uesugi Kenshin. Tokugawa Ieyasu was still hesitant. After all, Uesugi Kenshin's fame was too great. At this moment, a burst of unruly and raucous laughter entered the room. Even when that woman wants to get rid of you one by one, could it be that you are also prepared to cower together for the rest of your lives? In this king's view, the time has come to overthrow this Bakufu. A man completely clad in a black robe seemed to enter the room like a ghost. Even the Hattori Hanzo, who was renowned as the Ghost Kingdom's #1 ghost hermit, was unable to sense him at all. All of the powerful ghost martial cultivators felt stifled. You have come. Ghost King, could it be you have already finished refining the demonic saber? Tokugawa Ieyasu was delighted. If he had the aid of this tiger of Kai, then facing Uesugi Kenshin was possible. Almost. It seems Uesugi Kenshin is only making her move because she has sensed this king's ghost chi some time ago. Humph, what dragon of Ekigo, what unmatched icy god of war. She is nothing special to use assassination as her method. The man sneered. Just allow her to witness the might of this king's supreme ghost body. The first thing will be to sacrifice her as tribute to this king's rampage through this earth. If Su Xing was present, he would definitely be shocked. The man before them was none other than the same person who he thought had been killed by Yen Yizhen's 3 arrows lethal crossbow, the Ghost Cavalry King. Very good. Your subordinate believes that if we can capture the Empress in one move, this Uesugi Kenshin will definitely surrender. Hattori Hanzo said. Very good. I order you now, immediately assault Kyoto. Blame this on Uesugi Kenshin. If she capitulates, that would be for the best. If she resists, do not show mercy. Tokugawa Ieyasu coldly said. As you command. The deep night became no longer tranquil at this moment. The remaining 3 heavenly kings Honda Tadakatsu, Sakakibara Yasamasa, Sakai Tadatsugu, the genius ghost hermit Hanzo Hattori, the great generals and more than 1,000 ghost martial cultivators marched in the ice-cold moonlight, slinking with murderous intent. Ghost Cavalry King, this will all depend on you. If you can help the Tokugawa clan topple the Bakufu, in the future, we will definitely help you take revenge on the Great Liang. Tokugawa Ieyasu earnestly promised. The Ghost Cavalry King laughed. When he heard about the Great Liang, fury suddenly shot out of his eyes. Thanks to those delicious snacks of yours, this king's supreme ghost body has recovered to peak state. The insignificant Emperor Liang can do nothing against this king. And you also presented the demonic saber to this king, so this king will naturally aid you. However, not only will this king trample over the Great Liang, this king also wants to kill the majestic Stars contractor. Do you dare? Maiden Mountain Star Master? Ghost Cavalry King, why would you want to kill a Star Master, that Maiden Mountain? Tokugawa Ieyasu's expression changed. Afraid? The Ghost Cavalry King sneered. This king has already decided now to consume all of those star generals. They will certainly be delicious, certain to allow this king to reach transforming star of annihilation. I understand. The Ghost Cavalry King's appetite made Tokugawa Ieyasu inwardly draw in a breath. I hear that Hideyoshi has a daughter who contracted a star general. In the future, Tokugawa Ieyasu will present her to you first thing. Tokugawa Ieyasu pledged. No need to wait. This king will succeed with the ghost path. This king already has a plan, and will now go to the Toyotomi clan and eat that girl. Then this king will devour the dragon of Ekigo. A ghostly wind rose, and a ghastly howl shrieked everywhere. The Ghost Cavalry King became a phantom-like black smoke that vanished. Outside Kyoto, in slumbering Kyoto, the moonlight was dim, and the night was pitch black, quiet as a tomb. The faraway Bakufu's lanterns glowed bright in the imperial city. The city wall's magnificence looked down on the entirety of Kyoto like enormous mountains. Imperceptible killing intent quietly flooded the city walls, the streets and alleys, directly into the imperial city. Beyond Kyoto's shore, the lights of warships drew closer. All of the masters of the Ghost Path dojos blinked their eyes from their sleep. Then they closed them again, as if none of this was related to them. They merely gave orders for the dojo's disciples to shut the windows and doors, to remain quiet and not enter or leave no matter what they heard. Tokugawa Ieyasu's most powerful generals and heavenly kings quietly entered the city like bloodthirsty wolves. Suddenly, Hattori Hanzo stopped. He turned his head back and stared at a certain tower. This strongest ghost hermit's brows wrinkled. What is the matter, Hanzo? Why have you stopped? Sakakibara Yasamasa grasped his longsword. Apologies. Hattori Hanzo helplessly apologized. It seemed that he was overcautious. How could anyone hide right in front of him without being detected? He continued to sneak on. After he left, in the quiet pavilion, the wind stirred. Lord husband, they are thinking the same thing as you, the beautiful and cold woman quietly said. And, so let's see just what skills that Uesugi Kenshin has. The man beside her calmly said. When the moonlight illuminated him, he was none other than Su Xing. Bakufu Courtyard. Sakakibara Yasamasa and the Tokugawa clan's other great generals were already drawing closer. The guards and sentries along the way collapsed in whimpers, as if they were reaped straw. A while later, Sakakibara Yasamasa and the ghost martial cultivators were already bubbled into the imperial court like a black tide. They had innately superb martial force. Each person was capable of fighting 1,000 soldiers. With this many people gathered together, it was obvious how powerful they were. Suddenly, Sakakibara Yasamasa stopped his advance, halting in the corridor leading to the royal court. General Sakakibara, why have you stopped? Honda Tadakatsu said. He was known as the Tokugawa clan's #1 ghost martial cultivator. Shuffle, shuffle. The others also came to a stop one after another. A wave of water was frozen by a mysterious substance. Look out! Sakakibara Yasamasa tightly gripped his spear and assumed an aggressive stance. A sort of indescribable feeling of danger made the hackles of the Tokugawa's fierce tigers rise. Their hands clenched their weapons, their eyes reflecting a ferocious gaze. Even from far away, Su Xing and Wuxia could sense this level of pressure. Before they even heard it, to be able to have this level of power, this made Su Xing's blood unable to help but stir. Finally, the Black Knight slowly parted. A slender figure expressionlessly walked out, neither fast nor slow. She had no killing intent. That person strolled in the Bakufu's royal court. As if she was viewing the flowers, her gait graceful. She looked beautiful, but the long saber in the girl's delicate hand clearly showed her hidden danger. Closer and closer and closer. The moonlight cast away the dark night, revealing her distinct figure. Su Xing could not help but be startled. The figure of the woman who approached was extremely slender, and her long hair flowed like a waterfall, hanging down to her ankles. A warrior's pure white long gown covered her, freely matching the heroic air she exuded. Her absolutely beautiful face fit her brilliant eyes that were like deep waters. The gentle and beautiful moon did not diminish her beauty. Her figure leaned, wafting a subtle fragrance. Each petal of sakura danced under the moonlight like red butterflies flitting among red flowers, dancing beside the young girl. So beautiful. Sakakibara Yasamasa and the others could not help but take a step back when they saw the girl appear. The girl stopped. Her eyes slightly drooped. The long saber in her hand was very lengthy, at least 2 meters by Su Xing's estimate. It was like a spear in terms of length. Although it was said that an inch of length was an inch of power, it was rare to see a long saber that could drag along the ground. No need to guess. To be as mild as a flower yet as frigid in temperament as ice, there could only be one person in all of the Ghost Kingdom. Uesugi Kenshin. Sakakibara Yasamasa inhaled sharply, unaware that his hand was somewhat trembling. Uesugi Kenshin said, Tokugawa generals who have come charging into the Bakufu in the dead of night with who knows what reason in your minds, may Kenshin hear it. Enough of your farce. You only pretend to be a god of war. You plotted against my brothers, yet you still dare to put on an act. Tokugawa for Heavenly King Sakai Tadatsugu furiously shouted. Are you drunk, General? Kenshin does not know what nonsense you are spouting. Uesugi Kenshin indifferently answered. This arrogant attitude made the fury of the originally frightened group surge again. General Uesugi, perhaps you can help Lord Ieyasu. This empress has never shown her face. Everyone in the world is uneasy about this. Sakakibara Yasamasa calmed down. Uesugi Kenshin's face was like a dry well, nothing stirred. Generals, if you have no business, then please turn back. Kenshin shall not pursue your loss of control over drinking. If you generals take one more step forward, then Kenshin shall view this as a revolt and will retaliate. What can you do if I take one step forward? Takagi Kyohide jeered loudly. He took a step forward, she hands gripping a large mace, like a tiger eyeing its prey. Thereupon the young woman stopped. She slightly bowed in courtesy, as naturally as water sprinkling onto plants. Her slender jade fingers gripped the shaft of her long saber, neither quickly nor slowly. In between, she raised her hands, turned her wrists, and rubbed her palm. All of her movements were clearly distinct and simple that they made someone overlook them. And then Takagi Kyohide's mocking face turned into an ashen expression of terror. Her blade unsheathed then sheathed. Before anyone could react. On the man's stomach, a thin line practically invisible to the naked eye extended from his neck practically down his entire body. It appeared like a single, ridiculous red line, but no one laughed. Takagi Kyohide whimpered and fell over, already dead. Cold sweat instantly slid down everyone's backs. On the ground, the clanging of a broken weapon. 2 halves of the hammer were surprisingly cleanly split apart. General Sakakibara. Are you waiting for Uesugi Kenshin to kill us all one by one? Sakai Tadatsugu roared in fury. Following his bellow, he immediately brandished the weapon in his hand. Kill! Sakakibara Yasamasa ordered. The Tokugawa generals flocked together, and the more than 1,000 ghost martial cultivators charged. The royal court was submerged in a black tide as far as the eye could see. Uesugi Kenshin, do you believe you can stop us? Sakakibara Yasamasa dashed over, sneering loudly. A woman should stay inside the house and serve a man's happiness. Allow me to cut down your arrogance, Destiny Crusher. Mushin cut. 2. Spear Hanzo, Hozuan Ryu 10,000 broken stones. 300 slashes exchange. Flying swords Tenpi Ryu broken heart. 5. Birds roosting on spear slash. 6. The ghost path sword chants were displayed at their limit. Uesugi Kenshin slowly raised her hands. Each movement was as natural as a fledgling inevitably flying into the sky, a fry inevitably breathing in the water. Each and every movement sublimated into the world. The young woman's eyes opened, and saber chi bubbled around her whole body. In a split second, wind blew and clouds dispersed, and moonlight glowed. Uesugi Kenshin smiled. Tennyo breaks the sun. 7. Before the battle could even begin, it was already nearing its end. Su Xing watched everything with slight admiration. For this god of war Uesugi Kenshin was formidable as expected. The Tokugawa warships outside Kyoto's bay had already extinguished their lanterns. The Bakufu's countless ghost martial cultivators had begun their charge the moment Sakakibara Yasamasa ordered it. Could it be this was what it was like to taste one's own medicine? Sakakibara Yasumasa and the other Tokugawa generals fought with all their strength to kill Uesugi Kenshin. They knew that regardless of how powerful Kyoto was, as long as Uesugi Kenshin died, everything would crumble. This much was obvious. In Su Xing's perspective, Sakakibara Yasumasa's groups had brilliant sword technique. Perhaps they could not compare to the arrogant brilliance of the Azure Dragon Territory's Supervoid sword settings, but if it was a direct confrontation with a Supervoid cultivator, perhaps there would be some leeway. If this many Ghost Path sword chant adepts took action, even a top-notch star general would be a bit pressured. Of course, it was only a little. It was obvious that for Wuxia to be a bit pressured by Uesugi Kenshin, their exit from the stage was already preordained. How can this be happening? Sakakibara Yasumasa's whole body trembled. The large spear he held in his hand already was somewhat unsteady. The Tokugawa's #1 heavenly king gazed at the icy woman in despair, crying out. Uesugi Kenshin's pace was lithe and graceful. That long Tennyo saber drank its fill of blood, yet it was not stained whatsoever. In the young woman's surroundings, Watanabe Moritsuna, Sakai Tadatsugu and the other generals had already become corpses. Sakakibara Yasumasa originally thought that if Uesugi Kenshin was any stronger, she would be the same level as Sword Saint Kamiyazumi Nobitsuna. However, she had relied on her false reputation as a god of war to obtain her current position. The Tokugawa clan had been honing its strength for the sake of this big push, visiting countless ghost martial cultivators and dojos. Even Sakakibara Yasumasa already had power equal to Kamiyazumi Nobitsuna, but he never imagined that he would have thoroughly underestimated the young girl's strength. Just who are you? Sakakibara Yasumasa roared. Is General tired? Then Kenshin shall send General off to a good rest. Uesugi Kenshin indifferently said. Hey! Honda Tadakatsu lifted his saber, an Iaedo/swift to the extreme. Bang! Sparks flew under the moonlight. The Tennyo saber easily caught the attack. But Honda Tadakatsu's Shinkidryu swordsmanship was far from finished. His entire person rapidly closed the distance. He added to his sword even more danger, an even more fatal distance, an even faster swing. Absolute mind slash. A lifetime of power was sublimated into this blade, impressive enough to render people speechless. Uesugi Kenshin was startled. With a beautiful spin, the Tennyo saber danced along, 2 stars shimmering upon it. It passed by Honda Tadakatsu's body, and both sides stopped. A cut already appeared on the unblemished skin of Uesugi Kenshin's jade arm, a shocking sight. Honda Tadakatsu collapsed onto the ground wearing a victorious expression. He ceased breathing. Sakakibara Yasumasa was in thorough despair. Uesugi Kenshin's eyes slightly narrowed. Suddenly, she leapt high up, like a launched cannonball. Her long black hair splayed out in the air, and the young woman's figure abruptly vanished. She then suddenly appeared beside Su Xing. This is bad. Wuxia's killing intent had already been sensed by Uesugi Kenshin. Her speed was abnormally fast, and her blade was the first to attack. Humph. Wuxia was already on guard. She stared at Uesugi Kenshin, her hand clenching Noble Frost Demonic Lotus. High above, Uesugi Kenshin's entire being mixed perfectly with the moon's gentle light. A beautiful, suffocating feeling. Tenli Demonic Lotus Dragon Slaying. Wuxia coldly acted. Her sword chi burst open, drawing a swift curve. Bright moon slash. Uesugi Kenshin was like a god. The Tennyo saber's brilliant saber chi was swift and severe under the moonlight. The 2 uniquely cold and beautiful women traded blows in midair. Heaven and earth exploded at the same time. The splendid saber chi and sword fought like tigers and dragons, bursting forth without limit. Murderous intent drowned the royal court, plunging directly into the surrounding constructs, shattering them. Bang! Uesugi Kenshin and Wuxia each received a shock, pushing away from one another. As expected, your reputation is fully earned. Wuxia faintly smiled. Her blood could not help but flare. That's... Su Xing was stunned. Uesugi Kenshin raised her long Tennyo saber. Under the moonlight, a pair of stars glittered. This was astonishingly like the glow of a star weapon. Su Xing only felt his lungs choke, and he did not hesitate to flip open the birth treasure outline. The pages flipped through the volume with no wind, and Wuxia also held her breath. The final page manifested. Golden characters formed. Star position, Heavenly Crossing star 8 star name, Uesugi Kenshin nickname, Dragon of Ekigo true name, Uesugi Musou 9 star number, 229 star weapon, Tennyo Saber 2 star star beast, Nun realm, True Phoenix first stage innate skill, Commander, 10 yellow rank special technique, Bright Moon Slash, Dark rank special technique, Tennyo breaks the Sun Earth rank special technique. Lifelong prosperity is but a cup of sake 11 heaven rank special technique. Current status, weakened details. Star General. Su Xing inhaled sharply. You two. Uesugi Kenshin wrinkled her brow, landing gently upon the ground. The killing intent we felt around Koito was you. Su Xing recognized where this feeling came from. Could it be you two have drunken yourselves silly together with the Tokugawa? Uesugi Kenshin indifferently asked. At this moment, Sakakibara Yasamasa had already gradually recovered from his panic. General, sober yet? Uesugi Kenshin slightly smiled. As of now, of the Tokugawa's great generals, only Sakakibara Yasamasa was left. Just who the hell are you? Sakakibara Yasamasa was already timid. Suddenly, a ghostly wind blew, shrieking endlessly. A shadow descended upon the sky above the Bakufu. Sakakibara Yasamasa finally breathed a sigh of relief. Ghost Cavalry King, you come at last. Tsk, this is honestly a wretched situation. It would be better to allow this king to devour this delicious general. The Ghost Cavalry King clicked his tongue. Quickly kill her. Sakakibara Yasamasa withdrew to a safe distance. Do not worry. First, let this king see just who is stronger, the Star General or her. The Ghost Cavalry King smiled savagely. Sakakibara Yasamasa did not understand. Suddenly, a ray of saber light fell towards Uesugi Kenshin like a shooting star. Uesugi Kenshin took a step back, a strand of hair severed by the saber chi. Sakakibara Yasamasa was astonished to see the attacker was a woman. Fulfillment star Zhumanxiang. Fulfillment star. Why are you interfering with the Bakufu's matters? Uesugi Kenshin wrinkled her brow. She recognized Zhumanxiang and appeared to know matters about her. Yet it seemed that Uesugi Kenshin did not wish to mind anything about a star duel at all. Zhumanxiang's expression glowered. Her hand held the dragon sparrow Dulong saber, for a star general whose fame shakes the world to be running errands. Have you lost your honor? Uesugi Kenshin pensively raised her Tennyo saber once more. The woman's body was very light, as if she was being propped up by the air itself. She was like a feather, but the cold light upon her Tennyo saber nevertheless carried a starkly contrasting weight. Cold killing intent flowed from the saber's tip. The Ghost Kingdom's #1 beautiful general dragon of Ekigo treated the fulfillment star without any kindness. There is still time for regrets right now. Uesugi Kenshin calmly said. Hey, is there really time? Fulfillment star, stop chatting with her and kill her. The Ghost Cavalry King laughed from above. Zhumanxiang raised her 5-star destined weapon, like a marionette. Her eyes lost their normal dexterity and instead gained slight enmity and distress. Dragon blood frontline. The woman shouted, her blade whooshing, crying like a dragon. Saber light too fast for the naked eye to see zipped by. The saber light instantly arrived before Uesugi Kenshin's eyes. The woman did not change expressions. She raised her head, spreading her waterfall-like hair. With a swish, several hundred strands were severed all at once. At the same time, a trace of blood appeared on Uesugi Kenshin's spotless face. Hey! Zhumanxiang's blade swung down decisively. Uesugi Kenshin was as calm as tranquil waters. As if this swing was an illusion, and the girl herself was like an illusion, too. Her whole body was light, taking hold of the Tennyo saber's hilt neither quickly nor slowly. Not quick, not slow. She drew her sword instantly with a motion of the highest quality. Zhumanxiang's eyes immediately widened. Her fierce attack suddenly stagnated in the middle, and an extreme saber chi already inconceivably smashed into her stomach, cutting into her body. Since you are an enemy, you must die, the young woman declared in a detached tone. Just what the hell is happening here? Su Xing was caught somewhat off guard by the quick succession of surprising events in front of him. Uesugi Kenshin surprisingly showed up in the birth treasure outline? She was a star general? But what was the meaning of that star number? 229. It was not the same as rank. Su Xing was completely confused. Uesugi Kenshin's matters were baffling, but it suddenly seemed that Zhu Manxiang had sided with the Ghost Cavalry King. Su Xing was even more confused about what Zhu Manxiang's position was, and no matter how he looked, she only had a pitiful contractor with low cultivation. Zhu Manxiang would inevitably die facing Uesugi Kenshin. Does Lord Husband have an idea? Wuxia asked Su Xing. If it was before, the pilgrim would definitely have not hesitated to take action against the Uesugi Kenshin whose origins were unclear. But now that she already had a contract, Wuxia placed priority on everything her husband wanted. Before Su Xing could answer, he shouted they were in trouble, and his figure escaped. Zhu Manxiang groaned. The saber chi had cut into her body, piercing through her internal organs. Her mature and ripe body was already full of cuts and bruises, a wretched sight. Dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Kenshin's Batajutsu was practically undefeatable. The true Phoenix realm had overwhelmingly seized the advantage. If it was not for Zhu Manxiang relying on the 5-star destined weapon's powerful star energy for protection, she would have been killed into the star nest. When she was knocked back by the saber light, Uesugi Kenshin again thrust her saber towards the sky, mercilessly about to turn this into the place where Zhu Manxiang died. Bang! A golden lotus flower suddenly bloomed in front of Zhu Manxiang, blocking the Tennyo saber. The flower petals shattered, and the Buddhist light receded. Uesugi Kenshin was taken aback. She retracted the Tennyo saber. The girl stared in both shock and displeasure at the foolish actions of the man who played the hero saving the beauty. You want to make an enemy of me as well? Su Xing laughed. No need to make it sound so unpleasant, but I am very curious about your identity. Did you really come from Star World? Did you get along with Her Highness the Empress these past few days for this purpose? Uesugi Kenshin was pensive, once again raising the Tennyo saber. Her Highness the Empress? It can't be that Koito. Su Xing was startled. Without letting Su Xing utter his unreasonable answer, the young woman was already slashing. A dazzling figure intercepted her, making Uesugi Kenshin's ii end without results. You are a Star Master yet would save her? Uesugi Kenshin raised her brows. Although she cared not for them, she had more or less heard about them. The Star Masters of the Star Duels were locked in mutual slaughter. In the end, only one person could live. In the Star Duels, countless Star Masters schemed endlessly only to spare no effort in killing their opponent. You and Maiden Mountain. Just what is their relation to Star World? Do you know the reason for the Star Duels? Wuxia's star crest flickered on her forehead. Her pace was easygoing, walking towards Uesugi Kenshin in the courtyard. Kenshin has no interest at all in your Star Duels. You had best not bring trouble to yourselves. No matter what, your servant wants to see just what part of you is divine, exceed star. The corner of Wuxia's mouth wore a slightly charming smile. Noble frost demonic lotus blossomed in her hand. Ice-cold sword chi and black lotus-like, killing intent mixed together, covering dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Kenshin. Her sword tip pointed directly at the target, not hesitating to stab towards her chest as it drew the air apart with a shrill whistle. Everything in the surroundings instantly seemed to freeze. The words that Uesugi Kenshin wanted to say froze inside her mouth. Before that instant, she was still leisurely waving her long saber, but now she was rigid as steel. Wuxia's strike shocked gods and demons alike. But the defender was not at a disadvantage. Uesugi Kenshin's whole body blocked at the first instant with the crisp ring of clashing weapons. Wuxia's attack was completely intercepted. Ha! Uesugi Kenshin made a half-turn with her feet, and her long hair swung along. Instantly she had flanked Wuxia. Her wrist turned that long saber, and the saber's cold light drew ray after ray of slashes at extremely fast speeds, twisting towards Wuxia's arms, stomach and whole body from all directions like a whip. Like a downpour. Without any blind spots, it was capable of tearing apart any attack and defense. This assault was a nearly perfect dark technique. Tennyo breaks the sun. Su Xing's expression focused. Uesugi Kenshin was more frightening than he had imagined. The true Phoenix realm was not an empty title. His hand grabbed Zhumanxiang while his other hand did not hesitate to strike with Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. At the same moment, a yellow light flashed out from Su Xing. It became an absolutely beautiful immortal. The earth chi around her whole body coiling like serpents, billowing up and down. She was Empress Tuesday. Having undergone endless time under Su Xing's refinement, the Earth Book True Spirit Empress II already was nearly about to reach an external projection. Each of their spirits were linked at a stage where whenever Su Xing sensed danger, Empress II could already charge out without need for Su Xing distributing divine intent. The earth chi rolled around Wuxia. The yellow chi was opaque. Although it was thin, it wrapped around her like a membrane. When the concentrated saber chi descended, it struck the earth chi like countless raindrops, a torrential downpour. So incredible. Su Xing's heart went cold. The powerful Empress II's body sunk into the saber light. A strong force rolled over his whole body, squeezing Su Xing into breathlessness. A true Phoenix Realm Martial General honestly was too powerful. So this is a magic weapon of the Azure Dragon territory? Uesugi Kenshin's saber swung, the long Tennyo saber slashing at Empress Tuesday. Empress II could not last. She broke apart into a pile of yellow chi, and when she reformed, her power had greatly diminished. But this was far from all that Su Xing had to face Uesugi Kenshin. Watch your servant's dark technique. Black Lotus dyes snow. Wuxia used all her strength. The double-ended sword tore apart the air, letting out a defeating explosion. The peerless black blade chi bloomed like a lotus on Uesugi Kenshin's back. This was already unable to be measured with speed. The young girl's long hair was stirred by this powerful sword chi. Without even thinking, the girl drew her sword. Before the sword chi attacked, she brandished a peerlessly stunning slash. The Tennyo saber danced. The long saber fiercely slashed. Wuxia's concentrated Black Lotus sword chi was instantly shattered by forceful power, but Wuxia's new dark technique was far from over. 10 Black Snow Lotus sword chi blossomed all around Uesugi Kenshin, contaminating everything around them, similarly leaving no room to maneuver. Uesugi Kenshin did not hesitate, did not evade. She lowered her head, meticulously sensing the danger she was looking for. The god of war lowered her head and grinned. In less than a second, she had entered a tranquil sword path. All sides around her exploded, and sword chi dispersed. Wuxia already seized Noble Frost Demonic Lotus in coordination with the dark technique Black Lotus dyes snow. She very directly attacked Uesugi Kenshin's torso, instantly drawing close. The dragon of Ekigo opened her eyes. Her gaze sparked with the light of lightning. Uesugi Kenshin once again slashed back. This time, the Tennyo saber pivoted like a swallow. The most cool and elegant woman in the world at this instant commended the most stunning super strong dialogue. Each of her jet black hairs were lifted by the saber chi and sword chi. The stiff confrontations made the royal court split open with many cracks. From an outsider's perspective, those slender and wonderful figures, those identical ice-cold glares, the two of them appeared like mirror images of one another, making all of the ghost martial cultivators watch stupefied. But a certain person was not awestruck. He was even a bit sinister. And thunderlight that was unmatched in severity shot over towards this duel that outsiders were unable to interfere in, covering the Uesugi Kenshin whose technique had already ended. The girl was suddenly roused from her thoughts. Her complexion paled as purple thunder slammed into her whole body. The saber chi dispersed, and her legs buckled. A hard-to-predict maneuver instantly pulverized the ground beneath Uesugi Kenshin's feet to dust. Lord Husband. Wuxia was taken aback. If husband and wife work together, they can cut through metal. Su Xing answered without changing expressions. Uesugi Kenshin was slightly humiliated and cursed. Despicable. Tisk, legendary fulfillment star, is this the limit of your abilities? The Ghost Cavalry King laughed from high above. Or perhaps the Star General is powerful. This is a bit interesting. Hey you, how about you hand your Star General to me? The Ghost Cavalry King shouted. He did not recognize Su Xing was the very same man he hated to the bone. Su Xing had already taken notice of the Ghost Cavalry King. Seeing him calm and composed, especially his criticism of the fulfillment star, made Su Xing feel very confused. Zhu Manxiang, why are you listening to him? Don't tell me. Oh, Su Xing had asked halfway when his line of sight once again fell on Zhu Manxiang, revealing that her affairs were not in order. Zhu Manxiang's clothes had been practically shredded by Uesugi Kenshin's sharp saber chi. Her full and enormous white breasts were already struggling free amidst her labored breaths. Like her name suggested, her body was serenely fragrant, very arousing. Even Su Xing could not help but feel a certain place surge with blood, unable to maintain control. He promptly used the soul technique to compose himself. Then he covered Zhu Manxiang's body with a cloak from his astral bag. This gentle gesture made Zhu Manxiang's eyes show bewilderment. You really are Lin Chang's man. Is the Ghost Cavalry King using Chai's Sakura as leverage? Su Xing whispered. And Zhu Manxiang's pale complexion recovered the blush of a mature woman, her expression nevertheless bitter. Really? Su Xing's voice sunk. Fulfillment star, just how long are you planning to lean against that man's chest? I order you right now, kill him. The Ghost Cavalry King ordered in displeasure. Before Su Xing could speak, the buxom woman in his embrace instantly turned hostile, the dragon sparrow Dulong saber immediately hacking at him. Liked it. There once was a psychology research expert who said that long-term behavior decided a person's personality and instincts. This kind of personality and instinct will react to every single detail in life, influencing their ultimate destiny. Fine, our ancestors have already used 5 words to sum this up. Habit will become second nature. If Su Xing was made to recall his deepest impression he had, the most common thing he did after coming to Liangshan continent, that could similarly be explained in 4 words. Hero saves the beauty. Regardless of whether it was when he first performed rescue breathing on Lin Yingmei, then braved danger for Shi Yuan's sake, or later after he learned to intensify the chaotic tail escape, Su Xing practically demonstrated these 4 words to the limit of perfection. The Kamian Yizhen, Gongsun Huang, Wuxia and other beauties, even opponents like Hua Wanyue, Gong Kaiwei and Zhao Hanyan, as well as the star generals Zhu Xia and Dong Junqing. Even those he lacked a close relationship, like Humi. The people in the world only felt the purple thunder monster's 12 beauties serving him was defiant of the star duel's rules, but if they thought carefully, this behavior that disregarded one's safety, completely overturning his position as a star master, was what was truly unreasonable. Perhaps it was precisely this type of time-tested behavior that Su Xing had cultivated instinctually. If someone was a friend, Su Xing would always spare no effort to help her and not allow harm to befall her. To be honest, this type of behavior that appealed to the masses was understandable. Even the 1,000-year arrogant martial general Wuxia had a preference for this lord husband, who put himself at others' service. But this damned man still informed us, the world never had such a thing as time-tested. Thus, when even the shrewd Humi could soften in Su Xing's embrace, fulfillment star Zhu Manxiang used her most firm callousness to answer this man. Walk along the riverbank, and you will get wet. She swung her saber. The 5-star dragon sparrow Dulong saber slashed tyrannically. Ice-cold killing intent like cold water falling from the heavens froze Su Xing in place. This was a dark rank saber technique. Sparrow drinks winter spring. Su Xing never expected this kind of unforeseen event. In the past, he hugged the girls he saved against his chest with absolute trust in them. And over time, this somehow became Su Xing's natural instinct. He never imagined the day, that this natural instinct would betray him. Caught off guard with the close-range attack of a 5-star destined weapon. Even if Su Xing was the Daoyuo Golden Immortal, he would be powerless to return to heaven. This slash practically twisted all of Su Xing's meridians apart. This was the first time he had personally faced the danger of a close-range dark technique from a martial general's 5-star destined weapon. Forgive me. Zhu Manxiang said guiltily. Her hand nevertheless quickly threw Su Xing towards the Ghost Cavalry King. Now release Chai's Sakura. Lord husband. Su Xing had sustained heavy injury. The adjacent Wuxia was similarly shocked, also receiving harm. Currently in a frenzied battle against Uesugi Kenshin. This instant of stagnation brought about an irrevocable major gap. Uesugi Kenshin easily broke through Wuxia's twin swords, her chilling blade directly cutting Wuxia's neck. This was not surprising. Such an attack would kill Wuxia without doubt. But Uesugi Kenshin did not do this. A slight glint flashed past the girl's eyes. She gracefully spun halfway around, and the blade gently slid past Wuxia's neck. The girl's figure moved, instantly appearing between the Ghost Cavalry King and Su Xing, suddenly changing her attack direction. Clown from who knows where, watch Kenshin's blade. Uesugi Kenshin's saber slashed at the Ghost Cavalry King. When the Ghost Cavalry King saw Su Xing was thrown over, he became a dense black shadow and pounced. At the same time, a little girl was revealed inside his black robes. When Zhu Manxiang saw her, she anxiously rushed over to catch the girl. Against Uesugi Kenshin's sudden attack, he sneered. He surprisingly passed through the blade without any fear, breaking apart as if he was a ghost. Several ghost shadows suddenly appeared. Uesugi Kenshin did not anticipate this and turned her head back. Watch this king's one-spirit soul-taking. 2. The Ghost Cavalry King laughed. The ghost shadows already wrapped around Su Xing. What is this? Su Xing was startled. A wretched black shadow suddenly pounced down. A bone-chilling howl sounded beside his ear. And then the Ghost Cavalry King's ghost shadows drilling into Su Xing's body. A sort of bone-rending pain seemed to tear Su Xing apart. His head seemed muddled, as if it was filled with mercury. An indescribable thing wanted to rip his consciousness from his body. That is a walk-in. 3. You had best not be careless. Chao Gai's voice was transmitted into his mind. Su Xing's heart sunk. He quickly shut his eyes, calmly activating the absolute sincerity soul technique. At the same time, he chanted Brahmanist incantations, releasing Buddhist light. A giant meditative mind lotus flower broke free little by little from the black shadows and bloomed. Thinking of resisting? Your body is not bad. That star general is to this king's palate. This king shall use full power to see just how long you can last. The Ghost Cavalry King sneered. More than a dozen ghosts instantly emerges, splitting into 100 more. Countless phantoms fell over each other, nipping at Su Xing's whole body, drilling into his body. Lord Husband. Wu Xiao's expression changed. A figure held her back. Do not go over there. Chao Gai. Wu Xiao was furious. If you go now, you will only hurt him. Chao Gai calmly replied. Just what is happening? Wu Xiao said. This cultivator ability is a soul-extracting art. He wants to occupy Su Xing's body like he did with that little girl. What did you say? Wu Xiao was shocked. However, there is no need to worry. Su Xing cultivated the meditative mind lotus, and has Li Jishan's meditative mind innate skill. So long as his reactions are fast enough, his consciousness will never fade. The Ghost Cavalry King will not be able to handle him. After all, your Lord Husband is but the man who contracted 12 star generals. With that enormous star nest and peak supervoid cultivator divine intent, the Ghost Cavalry King is no match. Chao Gai expressionlessly replied. Humph. Wu Xiao tightly bit her lip, her fingers white from gripping her weapon so tightly. Meanwhile, Uesugi Kenshin was also stunned by the scene before her eyes. Countless phantoms let out terrifying howls as they endlessly coiled around Su Xing. In the black shadows, a bean-sized golden light radiated little by little. Then, a lotus bud broke free of the ghost's entanglement, slowly blooming into a powerful lotus flower. The countless shadows shrieked as they tried to prevent the lotus from blossoming, but this light was honestly too blinding. Not a moment later, half of the shadows had disappeared. What is happening? The Ghost Cavalry King was astonished. His one-spirit soul-taking was but the most powerful ability of his supreme ghost body. To successfully refine it was a coincidence from dying to Yanqing's 3 arrows lethal crossbow, and he had refined this technique afterwards. Although each use greatly debilitated his cultivation, against the Star Master Chai's Sakura, her contract was actually very good nourishment. The Ghost Cavalry King had succeeded against her at the first strike, but now he was using all of his strength and was surprisingly feeling drained. Not good. The Ghost Cavalry King shouted in pain. The meditative mind lotus flower behind Su Xing unfurled. Like a sun, The countless specters screamed as they burned away from its illumination. The shadows split from Su Xing's body one after another. This man's powers are very formidable. Within the span of a breath, the Ghost Cavalry King's phantoms had all been peeled off Su Xing's body. They gathered in midair and restored themselves into the appearance of a black robe. Just who are you? The Ghost Cavalry King's tone sunk. Ghost Cavalry King, you truly are a lingering soul in both name and reality. Su Xing slowly opened his eyes. He appeared extremely solemn. The lotus flower suddenly expanded, and Buddhist light glowed brightly. You recognize this king? The Ghost Cavalry King was startled. Oh, you forgot about me? It was all thanks to you back then in Stone Tablet City that little E comprehended the 3 arrows lethal crossbow. Su Xing breathed deeply, staunching his wounds. The Ghost Cavalry King was taken aback. Suddenly, the ghosts over his whole body contorted. It is you are Lin Chong's contractor? Finally remembered? Su Xing's expression turned cold. This king just happened to be looking for you. For you to show up on my doorstep, perfect. This king shall now turn you into mincemeat. The Ghost Cavalry King let out a hair-raising cackle. This king shall let you witness the might of this king's supreme ghost body. A black demonic blade appeared in his hand, and just when the Ghost Cavalry King slashed at Su Xing, I actually want to see what abilities you have. Su Xing's divine intent moved. Suddenly, 12 jadeite flying swords became 12 green rainbows. The 12 green flying swords released jadeite bamboo projections. Clear light linked together into a cage to cover the Ghost Cavalry King. The insufferably arrogant Ghost Cavalry King immediately shrieked when he touched this clear light. Evil suppressing clear light. Haha, as I thought, it's effective. Su Xing's fingers weaved hand seals. The 12 Langia surrounded the Ghost Cavalry King, forming a net that covered the world. Resplendent clear light illuminated the royal court. The Langia were all forged from 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Evil-suppressing gem bamboo's naturally nourished evil-suppressing clear light was not only capable of hindering demons, it was also effective in fighting off any evil spirit. Let alone that this was a 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. The might of the evil-suppressing clear light was easy to imagine. Even a supervoid-level demon would have to retreat. Although the Ghost Cavalry King's supreme ghost path had been cultivated to its peak, he had never imagined that Su Xing would surprisingly have flying swords so defiant of the natural order as the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Having received Su Xing's provocation, this slash had fallen perfectly into Su Xing's trap. The 12 flying swords spun, and they all released clear light at the same time, suppressing the Ghost Cavalry King into becoming immobilized. Damn you, how do you have evil-suppressing gem bamboo? The Ghost Cavalry King struggled to free the famous demonic blade in his hand, but it was like a frightened rabbit fleeing from terrifying danger. Sakakibara Yasamasa, quickly rescue this king. In a moment of desperation, the Ghost Cavalry King shouted. How could Sakakibara Yasamasa ever dare to intervene? There was Uesugi Kenshin as well as Harm Star Pilgrim. There was even the Fulfillment Star, and they all were staring intently at him, as if he would die on the spot if he made even the slightest movement. Sakakibara Yasamasa's forehead was full of sweat. He could only stare at Su Xing in shock and hatred. The Purple Thunder Monster. He had unexpectedly encountered the legendary Purple Thunder Monster. You think you can win with just the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo? You are injured. This king shall see just how long you can last. The Ghost Cavalry King laughed. Although the 10,000-year evil-suppressing clear light was formidable, it could only suppress, not kill. Even if clear light was to refine away his ghost body, that would require a very long time. The Ghost Cavalry King saw that Su Xing was already drenched in cold sweat. He knew that the Fulfillment Star's dark rank attack had indeed made him suffer greatly. So long as Su Xing could not maintain this evil-suppressing clear light would recede sooner or later. I'll let you look at something you haven't seen in a long time. Su Xing evilly smiled and raised his hand. A stone stele suddenly enlarged. Golden characters manifested upon this stele, and an air of righteousness filled the world. The Ghost Cavalry King was stunned. He immediately screamed in terror. No, the devil-suppressing steel. The originally sneering Ghost Cavalry King immediately fell into despair when he saw the devil-suppressing steel. The devil-suppressing steel was originally created for use against him by Emperor Liang using Mount Ye Shirong and other extremely rare materials. For the sake of this steel, he had even specifically invited the Buddha Kingdom's 6 ancestors of the time to bless it. They used 49 days to imbue it with devil-suppressing Buddhist seals, and then it was bolstered with Emperor Liang's own imperial true dragon blood for control, forging this unparalleled magic weapon for suppressing the world's evils. Compared to 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo, it was that much more impressive. Su Xing chanted, and the 12 lengya spun, evil-suppressing clear light wove into a net, and then, the devil-suppressing steel pushed towards the Ghost Cavalry King like Five-Finger Mountain. The Ghost Cavalry King's ghost body fled in terror, but following the evil-suppressing steel bearing down upon him, he could only howl in despair. Just as the Ghost Cavalry King was about to be sealed into the devil-suppressing steel, Su Xing formed a hand seal. The devil-suppressing steel halted. Ghost Cavalry King, if you don't want to die, then tell me the technique to refine this Ghost God's Bane. Su Xing sneered. The Ghost God's Bane appeared out of thin air. This blade's ghost chi was chilling, its ghosts not scattering. It appeared extremely frightening. Ha, ha, this Ghost God's Bane is the Ghoul clan's sacred treasure. It is not simple for you to cultivate it. The Ghost God Bane records the supreme ghost body secret technique. So long as you can hold this sword for 81 days, so long as you endure 10,000 ghosts gnawing at your mind, then you will have the qualifications to take up this blade. The Ghost Cavalry King unexpectedly cooperated. Fuck, so disgusting. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. The Ghost God's Bane unexpectedly had recorded the secrets to this Ghost Path's supreme ghost body inside of it. No wonder he could not even bear to touch it. However, to have Su Xing cultivate the supreme ghost body was simply a dream. Seeing that the Ghost Cavalry King was a completely incorporeal existence, a gathering of evil spirits, Su Xing certainly did not value this kind of supreme cultivation method. With the supreme ghost body, you can possess an immortal body. You have the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo, and you also have the devil-suppressing steel. In this Liangshan continent, who could oppose you? If you are willing to cultivate the supreme ghost body, how about this king shall transfer all of his cultivation to you? Aid you in the star duels? The Ghost Cavalry King sinisterly enticed Su Xing. This thing is nothing compared to the longevity art. The so-called immortal body is nothing more than a lie you deceive yourself with. Su Xing scoffed. Stupid. The Ghost Cavalry King restrained his anger. Shadows once again gathered on his body. He raised the demonic blade to cut the devil-suppressing steel. A black light knocked into the devil-suppressing steel, shaking it. Ghost Cavalry Divine Generals. The Ghost Cavalry King cried out. His body scattered, transforming into 99 shadows. These shadows were not like the ghosts from before. Their bodies were seemingly substantive, clad in armor and helmets, brandishing weapons. Their eyes flickered with ghostly flames, and there were 66 shadows gripping long staffs and wearing feathered caps, draped in cloaks. A black wind stirred. The 33 Ghost Cavalry and 66 Divine Generals were more powerful, and even more chilling compared to when he originally saw them at Stone Tablet City. It was only with the 12 Langya radiating their evil-suppressing clear light even more brilliantly, and the devil-suppressing steel's pressure that he finally held them back. But how could the Ghost Cavalry King ever be resigned to this? He endlessly battered against the array, attempting to waste Su Xing's star energy. Wuxia could not watch any longer. She sneered at the Gao guy who had suddenly appeared. Chow guy, you are practically always at Lord Husband's side. Just what are you planning? This one merely came in response to sensing someone who has surprisingly broken a star duel covenant. Wu Song, you must not misunderstand. Although this one indeed holds a bit of interest towards your man, that interest is merely purely out of a desire to understand just how far he can bring you all. Chow Gai indifferently smiled. Broke a contract? Wu Xia was taken aback, and she subconsciously glanced at Zhu Manxiang. Chow Gai was beyond Liangshan continent. To be able to instantly appear anywhere out of nowhere was not surprising at all to Wuxia, but she was slightly disdainful of her answer. Then you will not interfere with this man disturbing the star duels? Chao Gai was unconcerned. That she did not interfere, the answer was very clear. Although the Ghost Cavalry King had refined a so-called indestructible ghost body, this type of indestructibility would still be annihilated if met with an even stronger force. It was possible for Su Xing to thoroughly destroy the Ghost Cavalry King using the two items Langia and Devil-Suppressing Steel, which were defiant of the natural order. Originally wanting to obtain the method to refine the Ghost's Godsbane, but now with his hopes dashed, Su Xing quickly brainstormed. He suddenly had an evil idea. Ghost Cavalry King, you have this supreme ghost body, yet you have not cultivated to transforming star of annihilation. That is truly pitiful. These words touched upon a sore spot for the Ghost Cavalry King. Why not allow your servant to give you an opportunity? Do you want to go explore Star World? Su Xing narrowed his eyes. What are you saying? Your servant is a bit troubled in scaling Maiden Mountain. Do you want to employ yourself for my uses? Uesugi Kenshin and the others were each taken by surprise. They looked at Su Xing somewhat in astonishment and a bit of derision. Sakakibara Yasamasa felt this purple thunder monster appeared somewhat naive. Did he really think he could manage the Grand Ghost Cavalry King? Very well, this king shall employ himself under you. The Ghost Cavalry King answered evilly. Yet Su Xing did not take him. Instead, he formed a hand seal, and from his astral bag, a black chi poured out. When this black chi dispersed, a bizarre and grotesque monster seemingly assembled from every sort of body part appeared, with its body emitting a fog as black as ink and emitting a sort of disgusting stench. Uesugi Kenshin wrinkled her brow. What sort of monster is this? Wuxia had nearly forgotten about this 10,000-year goo demon. Enter it. Su Xing's divine intent moved. The 10,000-year goo demon involuntarily let out an unpleasant noise. The 12 Langia spun around together. The evil-suppressing clear light were like blades, and the devil-suppressing steel was like Mount Tai, bringing an enormous weight onto the Ghost Cavalry King. The Ghost Cavalry King immediately understood Su Xing's meaning. A sneer flashed past his mind. The Ghost Cavalry King completely assembled his body, and then rushed towards the 10,000-year goo demon, using one spirit soul taking. This 10,000-year goo demon could not be a better vessel for the Ghost Cavalry King. The Ghost Cavalry King could sense that the 10,000-year goo demon was an unfathomable goo art. If he used it, he definitely could make Su Xing suffer endlessly. Just as he formulated this plan, Su Xing sneered. After the Ghost Cavalry King possessed its body, 12 green lights fired, sticking into the goo demon's limbs. The Ghost Cavalry King cried out in pain. Before he could break free, he was already unable to budge. Then the devil-suppressing steel immediately shrank and shot into the goo demon's forehead. Suddenly, the devil-suppressing magic energy immediately made the Ghost Cavalry King choke. The Ghost Cavalry King grit his teeth. He knew he had been fooled. This isn't a loss for you. To have made your servant use Langia and the devil-suppressing steel. Alright then, you just wait obediently in there. I'll call you when I need you. Su Xing chuckled. His astral bag released a spirit light, and the 10,000-year goo demon, or rather, the Ghost Cavalry King now, struggled a few moments before being sucked into the bag. Su Xing nodded his head in satisfaction. Although he did not obtain the refinement method for the Ghost Godsbane, to capture the Ghost Cavalry King could be considered a success. Su Xing was not capable of goo arts, so he never used the 10,000-year goo demon. Now that he used it to capture the Ghost Cavalry King, he killed 2 birds with 1 stone. The Ghost Kingdom's martial cultivators were already dumbstruck, not daring to believe their own eyes. The Ghost Cavalry King was surprisingly captured just like that. Monster, he really is a monster. Sakakibara Yasamasa's whole body shook. Hurry and roll away, all of you. Uesugi Kenshin shouted. Sakakibara Yasamasa seemed to have received a pardon. He fled in a panic, leaving without a trace, no longer daring to delay in the slightest. Originally, he had been eager for Hattori Hanzo to capture the Empress and threaten the Dragon of Ekigo, but now it seemed there was no need. With this purple thunder monster, this was the best he could ask. Zhu Manxiang dearly stroked Chai Sakura's ashen face, her doting expression a bit sad. She gently set Chai Sakura down and rose to stare at Su Xing. She gripped her saber, her expression immediately changing into a resolution different from her usual self. Her shadow swelled, and Zhu Manxiang slashed at Su Xing. Once Su Xing captured the Ghost Cavalry King, he had relaxed in his satisfaction. He had even forgot about the injury that Zhu Manxiang's attack had brought. When he remembered this betrayal, Su Xing only then remembered about Zhu Manxiang. All of a sudden, thousands of flower petals bloomed around Su Xing. An odd scent assailed him, covering the entire space. Multicolored flowers released light, and in the midst of them, a picture appeared. This scent was intoxicating, and Su Xing felt his whole body lose strength. The injuries on his body no longer hurt, but this instead made Su Xing suck in a breath. Among the myriad flowers, Su Xing surprisingly found himself unable to break out. He turned his head, and as he anticipated, he saw Fulfillment Star Zhu Manxiang already daintily approaching. That dragon sparrow Du-Long Saber's 5 stars danced. Among the million flowers, the fragrance drew out the beauty of the dancing dragon sparrow. Zhu Manxiang's eyes were stern, saber light flowing. Earth rank saber technique. Clothes full of flower fragrance. Su Xing knew that Zhu Manxiang's dark rank attack, not killing him, was only because she wanted to use him as a trade for Chai Sakura. This was understandable, but he did not expect that even now, Zhu Manxiang would surprisingly still be unwilling to let the matter rest. This time, she was using her earth rank technique, as if he must die. Su Xing's expression chilled, and his killing intent moved. You are courting death. Wuxia was infuriated. A beautiful figure instantly blocked in front of Su Xing, facing Zhu Manxiang's earth rank without a shred of fear. The noble frost demonic lotus stabbed without mercy. Just when clothes full of flower fragrance attacked, without any warning, the surrounding flowers fragmented away like an illusion. The strange scent faded, and the earth rank vanished. Nobody would have thought that Zhu Manxiang would forcefully cancel her earth rank at the last moment. If a star general used a technique to forcefully stop, it would bring backlash. This retraction split Zhu Manxiang's internal organs, and the woman vomited blood. Her pace stopped. The cold noble frost demonic lotus burst out Zhu Manxiang's back, piercing through her heart. This stab was easy, so much so that Wuxia did not feel any resistance, as if Zhu Manxiang had been seeking death. Wuxia subconsciously withdrew her sword. Zhu Manxiang stumbled toward Su Xing. This time, the cool and elegant pilgrim did not stop her, merely turning her head back in silence to watch Zhu Manxiang's behavior. Why would you do such a thing? Su Xing saw that Zhu Manxiang had deliberately sought her death, and he felt greatly confused. His arms supported the woman's mature body. Zhu Manxiang rested her chin on Su Xing's shoulder. Her hands powerlessly hung, the dragon sparrow Du-Long Saber falling onto the ground, letting out a cry. Your servant's dragon sparrow Du-Long Saber is yours. Treat it as your servant's compensation. Zhu Manxiang panted, contrarily showing a smile. What did you say? Su Xing was shocked. Lin Cheng and Wu Song have found a star master that would make anyone jealous. Perhaps you truly can change these star duels. Zhu Manxiang's voice was becoming increasingly weak. To end the star duels like this is not bad. Laying my head on this shoulder is very soothing. I truly wish to have done so once more. Zhu Manxiang slowly shut her eyes, exhausted. She lost all her strength and leaned against Su Xing's shoulder, as if she had dozed off. But immediately afterwards, the fulfillment star's body became illusionary particles, like butterflies falling from this mortal life. A crimson light immediately lost its radiance, and fell onto Su Xing's body. Su Xing's heart seemed to be beaten upon heavily. He sat there dumb as a wooden chicken, unable to process what just happened. The dragon sparrow Du-Long Saber hovered in the air, letting out a mournful wail, in honor of the conclusion to its master's star duels. In tribute to the dead fulfillment star. Starfall. Koido sat upon a chair, bouncing her foot up and down, several sakura buns still in her hands as she nibbled. She had an easygoing, innocent and cute expression. Anybody who saw her would feel she was adorable and knowingly smile. But that would be before it was noted that what she sat upon was the imperial throne of the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom. Empress Highness, this is where matters stand. Dragon of Ekigo Uesugi Musou gathered the hair draped over her back, standing beside Koido and reporting on the matters that happened moments ago at the Bakufu. Oh, the fulfillment star has fallen? Koido's face was full of regret. It was rare for a star master to appear in the Ghost Kingdom, so the Bakufu certainly gave an enormous helping hand in the dark to upgrade her star weapon. She never thought the fulfillment star would starfall before the 3 heavenly books. Too pitiful. Koido very much cherished the pampering that billowing chest provided. The Tokugawa clan's old fart wants a regime change. For the next step, allow Kenshin to lead a subjugation force to destroy him? Everything will be as Empress Highness arranges. The young girl reverently bowed. Forget about it. If he wants this Bakufu, he can have it. Koido bit into her meat bun with satisfaction. Uesugi Musou asked, "Is that it? It seems there is a ninja who has seen my face. The star duels are about to end anyways, so we ought to get going as well." Koido licked her oily lips. "Musou, you have one." She raised a meat bun. Uesugi Musou bluntly grabbed it and took a small bite. "That ninja did not do anything to your highness?" The young girl immediately smiled wryly, feeling as if she had asked a very superfluous question, let alone that Koido appeared innocent and young. Liangshan continent's cultivators and martial artists were perhaps even more puerile. Koido's meat buns are unmatched in the world de Siyou. Koido bashfully answered. Uesugi Kenshin played with a strand of hair and said disdainfully, "That is truly letting them off." Take Koido, Uesugi Kenshin, you have unexpectedly appeared in this world. This one wants to know what designs you have for the star duels? A chilling and stern voice entered the main hall. A pervasive misty pressure simultaneously bubbled in. Powerful might froze time and space in the main hall. The golden-armored Chao Gai strode into the hall, expressionlessly looking down at them. Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai, if we truly wanted to take action, then we would have already done so. There was no need to wait until today. Uesugi Musou's shoulders shook. Her invisible haughtiness melted the frozen atmosphere. Chao Gai's aggression lessened. She solemnly asked, "Why did you two leave Star World without permission?" "I was curious and wanted to see why our future little sister does not have the 7 stars assembly." Koido knows she is very strong. Koido sweetly smiled. She extended a hand to offer Chao Gai a meat bun. "You two had best not leak matters of the star duels to them." Chao Gai seriously said. Uesugi Kenshin disdained this as beneath contempt. "Also, you have not answered me. Why were you able to leave Star World?" This question, a certain person will definitely ask as well, so Kenshin shall wait until then to answer all at once. Uesugi Musou's expression was leisurely. "However, Kenshin actually has a question to ask you." Uesugi Musou concentrated intently on Chao Gai. "Just what sort of person is this man, Su Xing? Why would he feel such sorrow for the death of a star general? Is it not too bizarre for someone to have such an expression in the star duels? This one would like to know as well." Chao Gai indifferently said. Koido nibbled on her meat bun, gazing in the direction of the hot spring at the back garden, her bright eyes blinking. Warm mist billowed out from the onsen, obscuring the entire hot spring. A magnificent blade hovered in the air, 5 stars flowing around it as if alive. Su Xing stared at this star weapon, lost in thought. It seemed as though that full plumpness still lingered beside his ears. A long while after, Su Xing sighed. Zhu Manxiang's starfall was an outcome no one could have anticipated. Although it could be said that he had met her several times, their relationship was not particularly deep. But the woman's plump and tender allure left Su Xing with a deep impression. If only we really can meet again at Maiden Mountain. Su Xing put away the dragon sparrow Dulong saber. He looked up and very quickly settled the grief in his heart. "Does Lord Husband wish for this?" A gentle voice penetrated the mist. A fair and beautiful figure walked into Su Xing's line of sight. Wuxia's exquisite figure was wrapped in a white bath towel. A pair of slender jade white legs stepped delicately. She had already let down her hair, making her originally beautiful hair become more lustrous than flowing water. Siyou, don't tell me you want to take a married couple's bath? Su Xing blinked and swallowed back his saliva. The Wuxia before his eyes was extremely sexy. Her skin looked delicate enough to break if he was so much as to blow on it. An extra layer of charm was added in the hot spring's warm steam. Wuxia's cheeks slightly blushed, her glistening eyes appeared cold and detached, yet they hid a slight bashfulness. Is Lord Husband unwilling? Wuxia asked, feigning nonchalance. I'm willing, of course I'm willing. Su Xing smiled. Wuxia first used her toe to test the hot spring's water. Only afterwards did she cautiously enter the hot spring. She looked at Su Xing's lecherous, squinting eyes and pursed her lips. She then undid the bath towel, revealing her absolutely beautiful body. Wifey, come here. Su Xing spread his arms to hug her. Wuxia turned away, ignoring him. Su Xing helplessly swam over to Wuxia's side. Is your injury any better? Wuxia whispered. What Uesugi Kenshin said was right. This hot spring is quite helpful for treating wounds. Su Xing looked at that frightening wound on his body. This slash was left by Zhu Manxiang. The 5-star destined weapon's dark rank was completely on the mark. If it was anyone else, he did not dare believe they would have lived through it. Su Xing was self-derisive. In the future, I'll be more careful. I can't be presumptuous. Wuxia grunted. She traced that wound and leaned her head against Su Xing's shoulder. About Zhu Manxiang's starfall, Wuxia could sense that Su Xing's heart was not at all happy or glad like other star masters would be. On the contrary, there was some grief. Therefore, she borrowed the hot spring's healing to properly assume the role of a wife and comfort Su Xing. Now it seemed that she had completely overdone things. This man in front of her, her husband, appeared to have a logic about the star duels that was bizarre to others, but from another perspective, he possessed an unimaginable open-mindedness. Just like this hot spring steam, the more remote he was, the more mysterious he became. Lord Husband, to achieve our sister's wish to end the star duels, you can only become the overlord. Lord Husband, are you prepared? Wuxia reminded Su Xing that the star duels were not a stroll in the spring, and they were not a song to be enjoyed upon the Guqin. It was a cruel struggle, and the last wish inevitably would need to pay an extremely heavy price. Seeing Su Xing take risks and even nearly die for Zhu Manxiang, Wuxia in that instant had intentions to be angry. Siyou, I know what you are worried about. Su Xing smiled. He could not possibly take action against Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei or Siyou. This also meant that even in the 7 Stars Assembly, he would be unable to become the overlord. Then the so-called wish would be unable to be achieved. Since I've already broken the rules, I may as well break everything until nothing is left. Su Xing did not know just what Maiden Mountain and Star World had in store for him. But regardless of the dangers awaiting him, he would not be deterred. It's just that I don't know if you will blame me for being too responsible. Su Xing feigned vexation. Wuxia's smile had a bit of charm. Su Xing's heart throbbed. He clasped Wuxia's cheeks and lightly kissed her red lips. Wuxia did not resist. She closed her eyes and parted her lips, extending her tongue to welcome his intense domination. During their kiss, Su Xing's hands could not help but wander over her chest and butt. Wuxia's figure was extremely fine. Using words like hibiscus or sculpture did not appropriately describe her. When he fondled her jade breasts and butt, his desire instantly surged. Not a moment later, Wuxia's hair was already disheveled. Her bath towel already had floated to some other place. Engnu. Wuxia's throat let out melodious moans. Her jade thighs could not help but writhe, taking the initiative to stick up her body to welcome Su Xing's love. Lord Husband, if you want your servant, then want her. Feeling Su Xing slowly kiss her secret place, Wuxia's eyes were about to tear up, showing an endlessly coquettish expression. The two of them had already been married for many days since coming to the Ghost Kingdom. Since she already treated Su Xing as her husband, and even signed a contract with him, Wuxia naturally was not coy, no longer reserved. In fact, when they came to the Ghost Kingdom, Wuxia already had plans to give herself wholly to Su Xing. As for the star nest or whatever, the Harm Star had never thought of needing it, but Su Xing nevertheless valued this star nest. Although they trusted each other sincerely for a long time, even so far as that this man had already kissed every particular place on her body. When she was already burning with desire, at the last moment, it was not Wuxia using her hand to help Xinjie settle this. Rather, it was him using the heart-like mirror absolute sincerity soul technique to settle this. For the first time, Wuxia hated this soul technique from the bottom of her heart. How could Xinjie not want to truly become one with Wuxia? But he never could leave an uncertain element of danger for temporary ecstasy. Before, when he did not know of Maiden Mountain's trials, he could. Now that Maiden Mountain was overbearing, Xinjie even recklessly signed a contract with Wuxia to provide her a star nest, to give himself a sense of comfort. Wifey, there's ample time in the future. We can consummate when we ascend Maiden Mountain. Xinjie panted. He embraced her jade thighs and kissed upwards along her body. He began from those delicate toes, up her satiny bridge, to her graceful calves and finally reaching her well-shaped thighs, licking that secret valley of hers. If your servant was to enter the star nest, then that would be the embarrassment of your servant's life. Wuxia groaned with a flushed face. Suddenly, Wuxia tightly covered her mouth, locking an even more embarrassing voice in her throat. Her thighs clamped together tightly, and her whole body spasmed and twitched. Her beautiful body entirely arched. After a while, she finally calmed down. Xinjie raised his head to kiss Wuxia's lips once more. Tenderly, he said, "Siyou, I will never let you enter the star nest. But for now, I don't want your body. Ingmei and the others will worry about you." "Your servant understands," Wuxia muttered. Wuxia rose and looked at the desire surging at Xinjie's lower body. Her hand clasped around it, and her eyes grew unfocused as she whispered, "Lord husband, this time, allow your servant to serve you." Xinjie quivered. The Wuxia intoxicated in charm was honestly too overwhelming. Xinjie and Wuxia came to the Bakufu's imperial main hall. Uesugi Musou had already been waiting for a long time. The woman was in the middle of practicing her batojutsu and stopped when she caught sight of Xinjie. "Your married couple's bath was honestly too long." Uesugi Kenshin yawned, as if she was already tired of waiting. "How many times did you do it? A dozen?" Even Wuxia blushed crimson when she asked this brazen question. Xinjie asked, "And Koito? Empress Highness does not wish to see you." Uesugi Musou said. "Why?" Wuxia wrinkled her brow. Uesugi Musou stared deeply at Wuxia, as if she had countless things to say, but in the end the cool and elegant woman merely smiled. She did not answer. "Then forget it. But I want to know, do you two truly come from Star World?" Xinjie was a bit hesitant to believe this. Could it be there are other worlds? Uesugi Kenshin disapproved. "But how did you two descend?" Xinjie could not understand. Liangshan continent had many legends about Star World, but the records were very unclear. Up until now, no one could say the reason. Even the transforming star of annihilation realm above Supervoid was a legendary existence. In so many historical records, he had never heard of a cultivator from Star World. Uesugi Musou had a look that said she knew he would ask this. "This is not difficult." An old man calling himself an immortal flew up to Star World, opening a passage. It was very coincidental that Musou and Her Highness Koito came down. Immortal? Xinjie's mouth hung agape. Could it be that legendary transforming star of annihilation, immortal extreme clarity, the most high paths? Even the Azure Dragon territories, #1 cultivator. Originally, Xinjie was still thinking of the most high paths disaster. This transforming star of annihilation old man would be a thorny problem if he was to show himself. But now he seemed already unnecessary to consider. Is it so simple? Wuxia was not very convinced. Uesugi Kenshin shrugged as if it was this easy. However, Xinjie remembered that her status in the birth treasure outline was debilitated. The Ghost Kingdom should not have anything capable of harming the heavenly Exceed star. In that case, it would have to be leftover from when she was in Star World. It seemed that things were not so simple. Right? Is everyone in Star World a woman? Xinjie suddenly remembered something. Regardless of Liangshan's 108 star maidens or Uesugi Kenshin, they all seem to inherit some materials from characters on Earth. Connecting the so-called star name and true name, Su Xing's mind had a rough outline of Star World, but it was also somewhat unreal. Men love to care about this sort of topic. Uesugi Musa did not hide her disgust at all. Terribly sorry, but Musa does not wish to answer this question. Su Xing Wuxia at this time interjected. Since you are from Star World, then tell us. Just what is the true face of these star duels? She would be far clearer on that than Musou, is that not true? The woman slightly smiled and pointed. Su Xing and Wuxia turned. Chao Gai walked over. Su Xing's brow furrowed, and he did not hesitate to flip open the birth treasure outline. Golden light flashed, and the book's pages flipped. Star position. Heavenly Buddha star name. Chao Gai nickname. Thousand Buddha star true name. Rank. Star weapon. Star beast. Realm. Innate skill. 5 elements. Yellow rank special technique. Dark rank special technique. Earth rank special technique. Heaven rank special technique. Current status. Detailed materials. The pages full of question marks made Su Xing's eyes go dizzy. Su Xing, you are very rude, to think of peeking at this one. Your cultivation is still too shallow. Chao Gai appeared stern. Su Xing chuckled. As expected of the Star Duel's guardian, the birth treasure outline could not illuminate anything, as expected. Your servant merely wants to know your true name, Chao Gai. Addressing you in the future is inevitable. Is there any need to go through so much trouble? What harm is there in informing you of this one's true name? Chao Gai mysteriously smiled. Remember well, this one's true name Wuhui. 1. Is the same surname as Wuxia. Take, isn't really complete, but I'm not sure what the proper form would be. Right arrow curving left 4. Which would explain why Humi has the supreme ultimate diagram that is supposed to be in his possession. A tall platform was constructed upon the Great Liang Dynasty's White Horse Highlands. Decorated with lanterns and colored banners, the normally quiet White Horse Highlands appeared especially lively right now. There were escape lights everywhere, flight artifacts and flying swords flying towards a particular spot on the White Horse Highlands. Like a dragon rolling through the clouds, like a hawk spreading its wings against the skies. Every sort of flying sword and escape light decorated the skies like tightly packed rainbows, appearing especially beautiful. The towns, villages, and people along the way were a feast for the eyes. At the center of the White Horse Highlands was a 100-jong-wide platform. At some unknown time, the surroundings had been filled with pavilions and glittering buildings, red paint and jade, forming crescent moon shapes. These cultivators descended near the platform, immediately halting their flight, as if they had some sort of tacit understanding. They landed in the surroundings, each and every one of them full of excited expressions, blabbering constantly. Never imagined that the clear void most high path would not occupy the one-path position in the Azure Dragon territory for such a short time. They have declined so quickly. Truly, the people have changed but things remain the same. Very much so. How well regarded the most high path was in times past, with 4 great supervoid ancestors standing guard. No one in the Azure Dragon territory could defeat them. But now, the 3 Clarities field has sealed itself off. I heard my brother-in-law's sister-in-law's nephew's neighbor's friend's child gossip. Ever since Ancestor Northern Darkness and the White Tiger territories demonkin allied with one other, Emperor Liang and the heads of the other great sects inquired about the Most High Path. Now the Most High Path's estates have already been seized and redistributed as the new arrangements for this Alliance of 10 conference, and the disciples under their banner have each lost morale, defecting one after another from the sect. If it was not for apprehensions about the might of Immortal Great Void, perhaps the Most High Path would already have sunk to second to the Imperial Dragon Path. This Immortal Great Void has probably already passed away. Otherwise, how could there be no signs of activity with such a major event happening under his school? I hear he is transforming Star of Annihilation. What? Transforming Star of Annihilation? The spectating crowd expressed shock one after another. Transforming Star of Annihilation was a legend in Liangshan continent. Some people even believed this was only the imagination of supervoid peak cultivators. If there actually was a transforming star of annihilation-level cultivator, then the annihilation cultivation method he practiced perhaps would make Emperor Liang and the others covet it. And what about annihilation? The Most High Path is only that in name anyways, yet he has not come out. Surely, the Most High Path's decline is a foregone conclusion. Well said. But I really cannot understand how the illustrious Most High Path could be ruined in the mere blink of an eye. How else but because of that purple thunder monster? I heard that the 4 Great Sword Sect Blooming Water Sword Sect this time is also. The White Horse Highlands Alliance of 10 conference appeared particularly lively and loud. Cultivators were everywhere discussing this Alliance of 10, however, compared to the expectations for the other sects in previous years, the former head of the Alliance of 10 Most High Path was contrarily the main topic of the conversation. There was shock, pity, glee, a multitude of attitude, any and all. As the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 sect, with 4 great supervoid ancestors, more than a dozen supercluster cultivators, the 3 clarities immortal fields, countless prehistoric spirit treasures, the Most High Path was the Azure Dragon Territory's highest existence. In the past, someone predicted that even the Great Liang dynasty would be unable to contend against them, but no one could have imagined a great sect like this would wither away in just a few short years. Among the countless discussions, there was one name that was mentioned over and over again. Purple Thunder Monster. The Purple Thunder Monster, he is honestly somewhat skilled. A heavy-set man wearing a simple yellow robe narrowed his eyes, a showy and innocuous smile upon his face. To surprisingly dare offend the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 great sect, and even destroy 3 supervoid cultivators before the star duels, Old Pig truly wants to meet him. More than that, it seems that the 10 great sects have all once faced him, however, they were surprisingly defeated. They are truly useless. Fenghua twitched her lips, very disdainful of these Azure Dragon Territory great sects that fished for compliments. To be even unable to take down a single Star Master, they were forced to throw themselves into the fray. It is many thanks to him that he allowed Old Pig to know the misfortune that beset the sect in the years that followed. Old Pig slightly narrowed his eyes as a chill flashed past them. His fists tightly clenched and his whole body quivered. I never imagined that for my sake they... Elder brother, do not be distressed. Tao Fenghua tenderly consoled him. Old Pig, you can take this chance to refound the sect. The other refined and calm woman Qingshang beside him serenely said. The 2 women's words were like a panacea that quickly quelled Old Pig's overwhelming resentment. And Old Pig understands. Since we have the fortune to encounter the Alliance of 10 conference, then I absolutely cannot let this go. Senior Yuanyang, speak again to your servant once more about the Alliance of 10, the Azure Dragon Territory, and Emperor Liang. Old Pig wants to know even more. The man turned his head back to an old man that shuffled respectfully behind him. The venerable old man bowed with deep reverence, immediately cupping his fist. Even though he was the current headmaster of the U-Dragon School, in the face of this old pig, he kept quiet out of fear and was cautious. This old man does not deserve to be called senior. Ancestral master, if you are not averse to it, then please call this old man Zhu Yuanyang. 2. The old man does not need to mind these honorifics. My elder brother is a very gracious person. Fenghua chuckled. Old Pig also smiled. What Fenghua is saying is, although the old man in front of us is already very elderly, in regards to seniority, you are very young. But to make an old man call Old Pig the ancestral master, Old Pig feels this is strange. It would be better to call me Taoist Old Pig. Very well. Zhu Yuanyang once again explained the most recent events of the Azure Dragon Territory. The Alliance of 10 Conference's rules were very simple. The Azure Dragon Territory was divided into 1 path, 2 halls, 3 palaces, 4 sword sects as the Alliance of 10 that governed over the Azure Dragon Territory's countless sections. Each time the Alliance of 10 conference was convened, if any sect wanted to rise in the ranks of the Alliance of 10, so long as they could pass the 3 battles, Disciple Battle, Headmaster Battle, Ancestral Master Battle, when the time came, so long as they could win to the very end, they could receive a position. However, there was another premise, which was that the Alliance of 10 required at least 1 Supervoid Stage cultivator as a guardian. Conversely, the so-called Alliance of 10 conference was nothing more than a competition between Super Void Stage cultivators. Now that the most high path of the Azure Dragon Territories Alliance of 10 was already doomed to fade away, and the four great sword sect Blooming Water sword sects Bailey, Qianli, and Wanli were also defeated in battle with the Purple Thunder monster, this was considered an implicit knockout from an outsider's perspective. And after the disaster at the Crystal Dragon Palace with the prehistoric Liao Emperor, many of the great sect's cultivators had fallen. Currently, the Azure Dragon territory precisely embodied a phrase, "From out of chaos emerges a hero." The normally unremarkable small sects wanted to use this perfect chance to demonstrate their prowess. Perhaps they could take up one of the former Alliance of 10 positions. The sects that carried ideas of meteoric success were many. As the legacy of Senior 9 Dragon's great sect, the Yu Dragon School naturally also thought of this, but Headmaster Zhu Yuanyang was already in his twilight years. His cultivation had stagnated at supercluster late stadium, and he only dared to dream, nothing more. But he never imagined that the day would come that the heavens would send a super void stage cultivator. This made Zhu Yuanyang endlessly excited. In his mind, he already began to imagine ascending the Alliance of 10 conference and breaking through to Super Void stage, making the Yu Dragon School shine in front of the eyes of the countless cultivators in this Alliance of 10 conference. Seeing this old man increasingly stirred, sweeping away his previous dejection, Feng Hua and Qingshang glanced at each other. The former secretly pursed her lips into a smirk. Among the White Horse Highlands' myriad halls, a woman stood against the wind, her figure graceful, a beauty out of this world. She stood atop this hall overlooking the cultivators that came and went everywhere. In her hand was a feather fan, gently fanning herself, a mysterious smile on her face. "Sister Xinjie, there's so many people." Thief Star Shi Yuan was beside the young woman, speechless as she overlooked this crowd. Wu Xinjie stopped the fan and retracted wind from empty cave, showing a satisfied grin. "Sister Xinjie, did you hear something?" Shi Yuan curiously asked. Our young lord truly gives these Liangshan cultivators conflicting opinions." Knowledge Star Wu Xinjie cheerfully said. Shi Yuan was not surprised. The Thief Star was even more clever than the Knowledge Star. The surrounding countless mentions of the Purple Thunder monster already made Shi Yuan grin from ear to ear. "Who let those people fight Su Xing HM? Now they know we aren't easy to provoke." Wu Xinjie tapped her forehead. "Do not be too proud. Quickly go help Xinjie investigate something." "Has elder sister found a target?" "No, this place has too much noise. Wind from empty cave is a bit strained." Wu Xinjie shook her head. "Right now, I need you to go help me look around, Yuaner." "No problem, just leave it to this young lady. This is this young lady's job." Shi Yuan patted her chest, full of self-confidence. And Wu Xinjie left some instructions, and then the Thief Star smiled. "Little Qi, it's our turn to shine." A delicate black bunny hopped onto Shi Yuan's shoulder, cooing. Then, a black shadow covered her, and Thief Star Shi Yuan already dissolved into the crowd. "Knowledge Star, are you really planning on taking action against the fourth overlord?" A suave and mellow voice came from above her. A graceful woman currently sat in the tea house on the floor above, sipping tea as she indifferently asked. Wu Xinjie lifted her head and smiled. "Little sister Wanyue, are you afraid?" Little Liguang Hua Wanyue's brow slightly wrinkled. She said, "Xinjie, you must know what you are doing? What does Wanyue think?" Wu Xinjie swayed. Her body twinkled like a star, and she suddenly appeared in front of Hua Wanyue. This was a sophisticated pavilion, beautiful and ostentatious. Hua Wanyue blinked. "I have never heard of such a thing." This was indeed unprecedented, because there was never a star general in the historical records that surprisingly renounced her contractor and gone to face a star master herself. And this star master was even a past star duel overlord. Hua Wanyue thought this knowledge star was honestly daring. Even with the ability to formulate wonderful strategies, this was an overlord. Was that so easy to design a plan for a counter? Without the support of her contractor, this was too dangerous. "Wanyue, in every battle, young lord has always stand at the forefront protecting us. Do you not feel distressed?" Wu Xinjie indolently asked. Hu Wanyue was stunned. She actually could not easily retort to this question. When she thought about it carefully, although this man was not her own contractor, he sometimes did more than any contractor should. She touched her lips, recalling what happened that night. And her heart was again endlessly infuriated. Damn it, no mistake, he indeed did more. This is a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity. So Xinjie and the sisters wanted to give young lord a pleasant surprise. Wu Xinjie toasted her, stirring the wine. The surface of the wine displayed a yin-yang symbol. We shall take care of this overlord. And that is why you would deliberately send Siyou alone with Su Xing to the Ghost Kingdom? Wu Xinjie blinked. Siyou is the first to address young lord as husband. Xinjie is honestly too jealous. So Xinjie wanted to give her a bit of a surprise. Hua Wanyue felt that she truly pondered too much, but in her heart, she could not help but envy such a relationship. But Su Xing will return for the Alliance of 10 conference, correct? So Xinjie has something to ask of you, little sister Wanyue, please. Wu Xinjie clapped her hands together and pleaded. Hua Wanyue's heart had a feeling of foreboding. Please help the sisters, Wanyue. Go think of a way to accompany young Lord Su Xing and not allow him to come attend the Alliance of 10 conference. As expected. Chao Wu Hui wifey, do you think that Chao Gai's true name is real or fake? Su Xing flew over the sea using a wind escape technique. Wu Siyou riding on the white and black unicorn tiger braced her legs, her posture graceful. Hearing Su Xing's muttered question, she unhappily glanced at him. If she must lie about even her true name, then Chao Gai is too sad. Wu Siyou calmly answered. Su Xing nodded in agreement, but Chao Wu Hui? Transcend misunderstanding? He felt that she seemed to be hinting at something to him. Could it be that Chao Gai actually also wanted to end the star duels? Wu Siyou said, Lord husband, although your servant does not oppose you being affectionate with the other sisters, you are honestly a little too interested in Chao Gai. Su Xing chuckled. He had no thoughts for Chao Gai, but if he truly could break through Chao Gai's defensive line, then he could understand the meaning of these star duels and Maiden Mountain's true face. And now it appeared that the clues really were becoming more and more convoluted. Star World's Uesugi Kenshin, and Take Koido. And what was the connection between Wu Siyou and Take Koido? 3. Why would the Harm Star again participate in the star duels? Recalling the water margin from Earth made Su Xing feel a headache now. He always felt there was a clue he was vaguely grabbing onto. If Shacking were here, things would be fine. With her excellent meditative mind, perhaps she could comprehend it. Ever since they parted from the Buddhist kingdom, it had already been a long time since they last met. Now he was full of longing when he recalled that woman's figure meditating in the rain. Wifey, after a bit, let's go visit Shacking in the Buddhist kingdom. Su Xing said. Wu Siyou naturally would not oppose. Your servant also misses her very much and wonders how her comprehension of the star duels is progressing. The two of them flew past Kagoshima. When they drew near Fire Eastern Island, they stopped. Su Xing saw a red luan hovering in the air, and a gorgeous woman stood on its back. Her gaze stared far into the distance, as if there was something beyond the heavens, and the graceful curves of that woman from head to foot could be fully described by the words graceful and elegant. The most beautiful of art pieces could not compare. Hua Wanyue, what are you looking at here? Su Xing blinked. The woman in front of him was none other than hero star Little Li Guang Hua Wanyue. Hua Wanyue stared at Su Xing, and then she remembered Wu Xinjie's request. Wu Xinjie and the others were preparing to do something unprecedented to give Su Xing a pleasant surprise, to handle the fourth overlord by themselves. Besides being impressed with her audacity, Hua Wanyue could not easily decline, but to make her go distract Su Xing to not go to the Alliance of 10 conference nevertheless made Hua Wanyue feel stumped. How were these star duels so unreasonable? She had never heard of a star general that would leave her own contractor to a star general that had not signed a contract, let alone that this star master was currently the strongest foe in the star duels. She, Hua Wanyue, was not a nanny at all. She had but pledged to take Su Xing's damned head. Gloomily faced with Wu Xinjie's request, Hua Wanyue had no way to refuse. Wu Xinjie and the others had pondered earnestly about this, so how could Hua Wanyue disappoint them? But if it was possible, the hero star truly did not want to be alone with this man. Wanyue, did something happen? Seeing Hua Wanyue's gaze was always placed on Su Xing, Wuxia felt odd. Hua Wanyue retracted her complicated thoughts and sternly said, "How was your trip to the Ghost Kingdom?" "And we honestly had a harvest." Su Xing said, "I'll tell you when we get back. The Alliance of 10 conference should be about to begin." "Wait!" Hua Wanyue shouted. Su Xing and Wu Xia turned back. According to Wu Xinjie, the Four Styles School is not planning to attend the Alliance of 10 conference at all, so as to avoid your purple thunder monster identity contrarily provoking trouble. Hua Wanyue brainstormed to make Su Xing not suspicious. Su Xing thought so as well. Although his purple thunder monster identity currently made all of the Azure Dragon territories sects terror-stricken upon hearing his name, but they gnashed their teeth in anger. As a Star Master, he would someday ascend Maiden Mountain in the end. By that time, these sects more likely than not would send a punitive force against the Four Styles School. There was no lack of this precedent in history. A Star Master would take the limelight in the Star Duels, but after they ascended Maiden Mountain, each of the great sects would split apart the sect the Star Master was originally from in order to obtain the benefits of ascending the mountain. Then we'll just wait and see. Su Xing himself was very interested to see just how lively the Alliance of 10 conference. Just as Wu Xinjie said, this man truly loved to stir trouble. Hua Wanyue was speechless. The other Star Masters of the Alliance of 10 conference were already going to make final preparations for the 3 heavenly books. Yet there would be a Star Master that would be concerned with such an insignificant and rare meeting. She hesitated a moment, but Hua Wanyue still spat out that special phrase with difficulty from between gritted teeth. "I have something that I must ask of you." "Hua Wanyue, you would ask something of me? That really is rare. If you have something, then speak frankly. There's no need for us to be strangers." Su Xing chuckled, taking this chance to improve their relationship. Hua Wanyue pretended to not hear the hint in his words and said, "Noble Star Little Whirlwind has purchased the double sevens from the Crystal Dragon Palace. Wu Xinjie has received it from her. I want to take this chance to go look at where this double sevens is located. However, there may be a need for a Star Master to open it, so I ask that you accompany me there." Hua Wanyue said with a straight face, speaking rigorously, avoiding details that would make anyone think too deeply. "Double sevens? Wasn't that fake?" Su Xing said. "But there is the possibility it is real, is there not?" Hua Wanyue curled her lips, a strange glint in her eye. "If you do not wish to accompany me, then fine. I will go there by myself." How could Su Xing not tell that this was Hua Wanyue's trap? However, in his impression, ever since that milky white incident, Hua Wanyue had always been indifferent to him. Something like an invitation was a bit of a fantasy. Seeing that Hua Wanyue was apparently somewhat too embarrassed to be forthcoming, Su Xing and Wu Xia glanced at each other. They both saw this was not normal. The noble star used the red ink iron certificate at the Dragon Palace. Wu Xinjie fears she will be in danger, so she has used the double sevens as an opportunity. However, your wives have not recovered yet, so they will not go for the time being. If you are willing, then you and I will go together now. Hua Wanyue suppressed her nervous voice. Lord husband will not refuse Wanyue's kindness? Wu Xia seemed to smile. She had already figured things out. This was perhaps Wu Xinjie doing a favor, deliberately finding a chance to pull the two together. Regarding this, Wu Xia naturally would not oppose. It's rare for Wanyue to invite us. Naturally, I wouldn't dishonor it. Su Xing smiled. Hua Wanyue's heart was somewhat delighted, yet her expression still maintained composure unmoved. Have you considered this clearly? The double sevens may be a trap. While you are without Ing Mei and the others, you will be in great danger. It's precisely because it might be a trap that I can't watch you enter that fire pit alone, Wanyue. Su Xing self-righteously answer. Besides, with you and Siyou beside me, their lord husband is very safe. I think that old Taoist Northern Darkness would be no match. I do not recognize you as my lord husband. Hua Wanyue coldly reminded him, not giving Su Xing any chance in the slightest to take advantage of her. Su Xing laughed. Wuxia rolled her eyes. It seemed that her lord husband's road would be a bit more exhausting. 3 Clarities Field's green mountains were continuous. A gentle breeze blew by, red-crowned cranes flew off, and clouds and mist rolled about. A towering jade palace was faintly discernible on the mountain, but because no one could be seen, it appeared desolate. The Most High Path's headmaster was at the summit of 3 Clarities Field, staring at 3 imposing sculptures. He burned 3 stalks of incense and bowed 3 times. If only Ancestral Master would manifest and save the Most High Path from this crisis. Like everyone else, this long, white-haired old man was unable to believe the clear void Most High Path had decayed to such a degree. Behind the headmaster were 400 or 500 Most High Path disciples and several supercluster ancestors, each burning incense and praying. After finishing the rituals in succession, the headmaster said, "Everyone, to stand loyally by the sect at the most critical moment. This may really be this path's fortune. Everyone must take up the mission of rejuvenating the sect. Someday, the Most High Path will be held in your hands. Disciples engraved to memory. We will definitely recover this path, revive our power." The hundreds of disciples in the 3 Clarities Field simultaneously swore, their voice as resounding as a bell, ear-splitting. Although compared to before, the Most High Path was already very waning. Their robust foundation allowed the Most High Path to still possess the qualifications to hold the position of number 1 in the Alliance of 10. Headmaster Most High nodded in gratitude. "Everyone, please retire for now. Xinjie, you stay for now. There is something Master must speak to you about." The Xinjie, who was once acclaimed as the Azure Dragon Territory's number 1 genius, was stone-faced, still graceful and gentlemanly. Bing Qingxian glanced at him then left. After everyone left, Headmaster Most High said, "Xinjie, these past few years have certainly been difficult for you." Disciple does not dare say difficult. The Most High Path turning into this state now is wronging you. Disciple does not dare feel wronged. Headmaster Most High smiled. "Xinjie, there is no need for you to be so formal in front of this old man. Right now, the Most High Path's great undertaking of revival can only be entrusted to you. The people of the world right now are mocking this sect and are mocking you. However, this old man believes that with your talents, you will not let this old man be disappointed, Xinjie." The old man's eyes were like candle flames, a deeper meaning to his words. Xinjie was as imposing as a rainbow. Xinjie shall put forth all his effort, not spare anything to demand justice for this sect. For you to be able to think like this old man is greatly comforted. Headmaster Most High breathed a sigh of relief. He flung his hand, and several clear lights flowed in front of Xinjie. They were 3 talismans and several jade strips. The Extreme Clarity First Origin Talisman, 5. The High Clarity Immortal Killing Talisman, 6, and the Jade Clarity Worldly Indifference Talisman, 7, are to be entrusted to your protection on behalf of Master. This jade strip records the 3 Clarities Sword Array, and the other records the 3 Clarities Immortal Light Secret Technique. 8. The Extreme Clarity Traps, the High Clarity Kills, and the Jade Clarity Protects. These clear immortal lights are paired with the Path of Most High Worldly Indifference as this sect's protective technique. Outsiders have never known about this, but this is very difficult to train. Even ancestral masters like Northern Darkness have only been able to train in one of the immortal lights. However, you have gone through joy and disaster. You should be able to have good fortune. Master has already decided to not spare any effort to help you ascend Maiden Mountain. But this is all that this sect can do for you now. Xinjie's expression could not help but be moved. "Do not disappoint Master. Go now." Headmaster Most High waved his hand. Xinjie took the 3 talismans and 2 jade strips, and stepped away deferentially. Gazing at the 3 sculptures, Headmaster Most High heaved a long sigh. Suddenly, an imposing voice spoke from behind him. "How goes it, that matter this ancestor had you investigate?" Headmaster Most High whirled around, and an old man slowly walked over. He was Northern Darkness has fish. "Ancestral Master Northern Darkness, in accordance with your orders, I have already had the disciples spare no effort to secretly search for that person's whereabouts. They have already found her. Headmaster Most High respectfully answered. This old man just saw you be very considerate to Xie Yuan. Do you truly feel he can accomplish the great task of reviving this path? Northern Darkness has Fish slightly smiled. Ancestral Master's opinion is? Forget it. That Xie Yuan remains disloyal. Whether or not he considers this path is up to luck now. But now that the old thief Emperor Liang is stirring public sentiment, so long as this ancestor takes the Noble Star's red ink iron certificate, this ancestor will surely eradicate his Zhao imperial family. Not even a chicken or dog shall be left alive. Northern Darkness has Fish sneered. Sooner or later, the Most High Path shall be the master of the Alliance of 10, not he. Northern Darkness has Fish's voice was chilling, rattling the sculptures of the three founders. They let out a dying wail, lingering for a while in the sky above Three Clarity's field. The white robes with water blue marks of the Crystal Dragon Palace. The white as snow attire of the Extreme Ice Holy Palace. The billowing purple clouds of the Purple Firmament's Immortal Palace. The three palace sects began to enter the area, and the White Horse Highlands became frenzied. But no one noticed that several women had also quietly arrived at this place. Dressed in a graceful blue flower-patterned skirt, Xinjie had already ingested a change appearance pill. Her picturesque beauty had already been replaced by something unremarkable. Even so, it was still difficult to cover a girl's natural temperament. Her every word and gesture was dignified and composed, more noble than those heavily made up and gaudily dressed female cultivators. This time, other than Li Longkui who followed her as closely as her own shadow, there was another woman dressed in a black robe, and wearing a sinister mask that half covered her face following closely behind. She was different from killer star Li Longkui. The woman's movements were full of malevolence. The Azure Dragon territory is fond of their pomp and circumstance. Still this is honestly lively. Yunshang, do not expose our identities. Xinjie whispered a reminder to her about this trip's goal. Is this not just for that purple thunder monster? Qingsai, you want to take this opportunity to see which sect he is from, to find out his background. Yunshang is correct, right? With the purple thunder monster's level of power, he absolutely cannot have become so accomplished in a single night. Behind the scenes, there must be profound backing and support. Since he is able to overthrow the Most High Path and level the 10 great sects, logically speaking, the sect behind him will surely display their full might here. 2. Even if the purple thunder monster can change his appearance, so long as he appears on the arena, he will become linked in countless ways. Then, we will take appropriate action. Is Yunshang wrong? Ugly Prince Consort Xian Yunshang provocatively curled the corner of her lips, saying Xinjie's objective in one breath. What you do not understand, Xinjie, is that the other sects are thinking the same way. Xian Yunshang looked at the discussion of the other cultivators. Their conversations inevitably had the 4 words, the purple thunder monster. This Alliance of 10 conference was grand, and there was an even more important reason, which was to guess how the sect behind the purple thunder monster would take the stage. Would they be overnight celebrities that became the Azure Dragon territory's #1 path, or something else? For this reason, none of expressions of the Azure Dragon territory's great sects were particularly pleasant. Xian Yunshang also disdainfully said, "From what I can see, there is absolutely no possibility that Su Xing will appear. This man is several levels more cunning, thoroughly repulsive. The purple thunder monster perhaps can carry a sect up to being the Azure Dragon territory's #1 sect, but if he ascends Maiden Mountain, then Yunshang can guarantee that this sect will die without a trace. Of course, perhaps that sect truly has a transforming star of annihilation cultivator standing guard over it." Xinjie gasped in astonishment. She looked at Xian Yunshang in surprise. "Little sister Yunshang, how do you know that the purple thunder monster is named Su Xing? Do you know him?" "More than just know. Yunshang is practically familiar enough to want to rend his flesh from his bones, eat him alive," Yunshang said mischievously, letting out a bloodthirsty chill that matched her malevolent mask. "How has Lord Su vexed Yunshang?" "I only exchanged words with Hua Wanyue and Wuxia." Xinjie forced a smile. She was well aware of Xian Yunshang's personality. The so-called exchanged words was a star duel. Little sister is truly formidable, to escaped unscathed from Wusong and Huarong. Li Longkui was moved by Xian Yunshang's boldness. Xian Yunshang clicked her tongue. She had no interest in explaining the sequence of events. She looked at Qingxi and honestly said, I shall tell you the truth, Qingxi. That the queen allowed Yunshang accompany you to this Alliance of 10 conference, Qingxi, is to not only protect you, but actually to monitor that you are not deceived as Wusong and Huarong were. When you truly meet face to face, Yunshang will be very frank. If there is an opportunity for a sneak attack, I will not hesitate. Allow Yunshang to say another thing. That man's current power is already at a level I cannot handle. Qingxi, if you wish to preserve your friendship with him, call him Lord Su or Lord Husband. Yunshang and the Queen both can understand. But we ask that Qingxi remember the significance of our sisterhood. At Maiden Mountain, the uprising will finally be the true lead role. This man must die. Xian Yunshang's voice was entirely stern, reminding her that most recently, Qingxi's indecision had made the sisters dissatisfied. They had undertaken the uprising for Qingxi, throwing themselves under the uprising banner for the sake of ending the star duels. Rather, they did not want to see Qingxi nevertheless be caught at the end by the pitfall of the man who broke the rules, to avoid a buy one, get 10 free trick. Song Qingxi sighed. Your servant understands justice of the peace and thanks little sisters for their concern. And this will do. Xian Yunshang nodded in satisfaction. They circled around the White Horse Highlands, but there was nothing interesting to see. Xian Yunshang found a pavilion and sat with Qingxi. This pavilion's position was remote, but its view was extremely fine, able to overlook the Alliance of 10 Conference's site. Ugly Prince Consort was bored and asked Song Qingxi some questions about Su Xing. Even though she always spoke about grinding Su Xing to dust, any star general would perhaps have found it difficult to conceal their curiosity for the Purple Thunder monster. A star master that could contract 2 great thousand-year star generals would confuse anyone, and Xian Yunshang was no exception. She only had contact with Su Xing twice, but Xian Yunshang would describe him with thoroughly terrible words. Arrogant, frivolous, shameless, despicable. Go die. All of these could completely fit him, but Xian Yunshang honestly did not understand how such a star master seen once in 1,000 years would surprisingly be able to make Lin Chong and Wusong follow him. This truly was a blight upon her eyes. And when she heard Qingxi surprisingly address this man as Lord Su, Xian Yunshang felt even more incredulous. She always wanted to ask clearly just what aspect of this man was good, so she readily accepted Shi Jingluan's request that she accompany Qingxi for her trip to the Alliance of 10 conference. Song Qingxi's answer was also unclear. Those reasons that were unlike a star master, Xian Yunshang completely was unable to accept them. It appears this Su Xing is lenient in all regards. So long as they were kind, he would even treat a star master with sincerity. If this is the case, then Insheng shall go test him next time. Ugly Prince Consort brainstormed and had a thought. There are also other sisters coming to this Alliance of 10 conference. Just as Xian Yunshang was lost in thought, Song Qingxi suddenly interrupted her. Has trouble come? Xian Yunshang said in boredom. Song Qingxi's brows wrinkled deeper and deeper. Her slender white hand abruptly set down her cup stiffly. Xian Yunshang knew that Song Qingxi's eyesight was exceptional. She could easily identify the Maiden Mountain's 108 sisters, but to see her turn so serious nevertheless left her confused. Even when she became aware of the White Tiger Territory's unnatural demonkin star masters back at Crystal Dragon Palace, she did not have this kind of expression. Xian Yunshang was curious and followed Song Qingxi's gaze. Along the road, 2 girls entered her view. One was dressed plainly, with a vivacious energy, like the daughter of some ordinary peasant family. The other was dressed brightly, covered in the garb of immortals, just like a noble lady. However, this was nothing. Between them was that chubby fatty who contrarily felt wasteful. This generation's top-notch star generals had each already appeared. These 2 could not possibly be any of the formidable star generals. Another star master who has contracted double stars? Xian Yunshang said with a bit of interest. Qingxi's white hand beckoned and opened the birth treasure outline. The pages fluttered, and golden light glowed. Song Qingxi clutched her chest, her expression fully flabbergasted. The toweringly Longkue next to her also looked at the book, and even this barbaric iron ox was dumbfounded. Xianyunshang was even more curious. She scooted over and looked. Star position, manage star 3-star name, Tao Zhongwang nickname, 9-tailed turtle 5 true name, Tao Fenghua rank, 75th star weapon. Feng armor Huang shield 6 star, / dragon turtle plow heavenly shovel star beast, Nun realm. Extreme realm 4th stage innate skill. Defense 5 elements. Earth yellow rank special technique. Standing guard dark rank special technique. Secure as a fortress 7. Earth rank special technique. Invulnerability heaven rank special technique. Firm as stony heavens. 8 current status. Trace of true spirit detailed materials. Has a heaven earth dark yellow skill, reminiscing the Xiao players at Fenghuang Terrace, with music star iron whistle Yuhi. Star position. Music star 9-star name. Yuhi 10 nickname. Iron whistle 11 true name. Yutsushang 12 rank, 77 star weapon. Xiannu Xiao 6-star star beast. Nun realm. Extreme realm 4th stage innate skill. Heavenly pipe / music instrument 5 elements. Metal yellow rank special technique. Song with the wind 13 dark rank special technique. Ice and rain attract 14. Earth rank special technique. As if touching stars heaven rank special technique. 9 immortals. Bewitching song current status. Trace of true spirit, cannot be conquered, detailed materials. Has a heaven earth dark yellow skill, reminiscing the Xiao players at Fenghuang Terrace, with managed star 9-tailed turtle Tao Zhongwang. 2 earthly stars that have comprehended their heaven rank and a heaven earth dark yellow? Xianyunshang was astonished, her eyeballs nearly popping out from their sockets. Comprehension of earth ranks had merely begun at this stage. To unexpectedly comprehend heaven rank, and even their fucking heaven earth dark yellow skill. This was something even the top-notch martial generals were incapable of. These star duels really are beyond reason. To unexpectedly be even more abnormal than the purple thunder monster. Little sister, look closely. This trace of true spirit. Qingxi pointed to this phrase. Cannot sign a contract? Just what is the meaning of this? Rumor said that Maiden Mountain is confronting the purple thunder monster. Could that be true? Though Xianyunshang should have been delighted in his misfortune, she instead felt no resentment. Song Qingxi did not answer. When she looked down again, those 3 were already gone. Everything was as fleeting as the queen of the night. 16 illusory, but the haze in Song Qingxi's heart nevertheless was a real existence, impossible to get rid of. Great Circle Castle. Chai Ling held Xinger as she reclined on a sofa, a blank expression on her face. Xinjie and Yuya stared at each other, not knowing how to console her. Chai Ling. Kongho walked into the hall crying and sat bluntly on the sofa. Chai Ling seemed to have woken from a dream and snickered. Elder sister, you are not drinking today. That little restrained wants to assassinate your humble servant. Your humble servant is currently lecturing her. How is there time to drink? Kongho shrugged. When Xinjie and Yuya heard these words, they immediately fetched some finely aged wine. Kongho thanked them before bluntly taking it. She took a large swig and leisurely asked. It seems you have lent the double sevens to the knowledge star? Chai Ling confirmed. No wonder you are lost in thought here. Kongho had an epiphany. You truly were reluctant to lend out the double sevens. Did your humble servant not go help you investigate this? This double sevens use is fake, but the contract is possibly real. Kongho was very clear that noble star Chai Ling wanted to sign a contract and participate in the star duels, but as the noble star, she required too much face. How could she make such a request? So Chai Ling always wanted to find a golden opportunity to sign a contract with Su Xing, right in front of the gazes of the entire world, just like Wuxia. This was the reason Chai Ling would keep sighing. But Kongho thought, you the noble star spend every day idling away in your castle, to hell with an opportunity. It was because of this that Chai Ling was not concerned with the price when she purchased the double sevens from the Crystal Dragon Palace. Because according to Kongho's understanding, this double sevens was a relic from an ancient star duel. Her use was not to rescind contracts but to form them. 17 There was no mistake. She was a rule breaker, allowing one to contract 2 stars, even a 3rd-star general. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.